the theory, the number one hot theory right now
Mhm.
is that we're being haunted by a hot, sexy, potentially male ghost.
Okay. So this episode of the Blurred Podcast is completely unscripted. We weren't planning on doing one today. But at the last minute, we were like, you know what? Let's fucking do it. Luckily for us, Shiraj wasn't able to make it today. So we won't have some like angry Brit yelling at us the whole time. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but I sometimes I get a little bit intimidated because sometimes Shiraj just really loses his temper on the recording,
Yeah.
and it makes me
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
uncomfortable. I've been meaning to talk to him about
Yeah.
it.
Honestly, I just assume most of the time because, like, my assumption is that when he stops talking, he gets really mad.
Yeah,
And so, like,
right.
I'm just assuming that he's been like just raging.
Yeah, for sure.
He when I think when you don't hear Shiraj, it's because his voice has raised to a point
Hmm.
that his microphone automatically cuts it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's my assumption.
So lucky for us, we won't have that like negative energy hanging over us
Hmm.
today. But
Wait, these fucking worms link? I'm gonna die.
anyway, so how have you guys been? I'm excited to record. We have a super interesting late notice topic, and we can talk about that while Dex is dying. But
The nice thing is, to answer your first question, how am I doing?
mhm,
I hopefully great. I don't know. It's been a saga. If you've been
yeah,
following along at twitch.tv/Hagmo, you might be familiar
mhm. Nice
with
early
some of the
plug.
trials and
Mhm.
tribulations that have been going on. But I won't go because I could just start ranting for an hour and that would just be the podcast episode. So
That'd be
I'll skip
great.
it.
Yeah.
Um, I will say that I'm really glad that you guys kind of sprung this episode because we were going to kind of skip today,
Mhm.
and then you got back earlier than you thought, and so you're able to jump in. But the nice thing is that you like nobody's prepared to
Yeah.
have this conversation. Like nobody's done any research,
Mhm.
nobody's looked anything up, or really had any time to really think about it, and so we're on even playing field now.
Mhm.
Like that's how I usually come into all the episodes. So,
Yeah.
so now you guys are at the
Right.
same pace as me.
Right. No. Well, this is the thing is that people don't see the behind the scenes, the scientific research that goes into every episode.
Mm,
But what we're doing right now is the scientific process. Whether or not people agree with that or think that's accurate, they're welcome to their opinion. But this is actually everything that we say on here is scientifically proven, like we've stated before. So we're testing and proving these things as we go through the podcast.
I found out why
indeed.
I'm dying.
Uh,
King of
s-
Hearts is an idiot and likes to Raga.
I just assumed that you were wearing
Oh,
ambuscade gear again.
That's rude.
you just
Again.
you just
What the fuck?
AoE pulled the all the worms.
Yeah, fantastic. So
What a
so the question of the day, boys: what jobs do you think need overhauls, and what would you do to those
Well,
jobs?
all of them.
Let's first like let's make like a small list of jobs that like are you would consider very hard to play in modern
yeah.
consoles. What are some jobs that come to mind?
Thief, pet
Um,
jobs,
Hmm.
yeah.
ninja.
Okay, so
Yeah, I think that's like the normal list of things that are like very in a terrible spot or like in a very hard to manage spot. That's puppet master, summoner, beastmaster. The
mhm.
pet jobs all kind of struggle similarly. Thief and ninja, and then like everything else from that is maybe like a second tier of difficult. I do think like most jobs it would be great to have some sort of like even minor attention or adjustment to something. Everything needs to be touched a little bit, but those are probably my highest.
Sure does.
So
Yeah.
here's an alternate question before we kick off like the overhauls. Do you think there are any jobs that don't need to be touched?
Corsair.
uh yeah, I think yeah. Corsair's in a great spot.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to start here also by saying that I am like staunchly anti nerf. I don't think anything should ever be reduced in power or functionality. So like a lot of people talk about Corsair being overpowered or whatever. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
good, keep it that way. Um, Warrior probably is in a really good spot for what it is. I don't think it really needs any adjustments, but I would love to see like some minor shifts in that sense as well. Those are probably the top two.
Okay,
If Corsair were to get anything, I think it would be like a Pianissimo kind of thing, just to
that'd be
split the roles
interesting.
up.
Yeah, that'd be
But
nice.
power wise,
Or
I
the
think the job is really strong. Doesn't
Mm-hmm.
need anything new.
ooh,
Okay.
like a under the table roll
Mm-hmm.
where they just
Yeah,
roll for one person. That'd be pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
Other than that, I don't think there's anything crazy that you could do. Like you couldn't do anything to Corsair that would make it better. It's already fucking
Right.
amazing.
Here's
third roll.
what about some other like popular strong jobs? Let's say would you
Samurai
do
Engineer,
anything to change Rune Fencer or Geomancer?
Mm.
Those are two really
Shroud
strong
Right?
jobs, but they're not like exactly used in every scenario, right? Like I think Rune Fencer is a fantastic job. I think it's super strong. But maybe it's not as applied as like a warrior or a bard or a core. Is there anything you would do to change Rune Fencer? I think it's in a great spot personally.
I think it's arguably the best tank.
I think so too.
It just depends on whose hands it's in, you know.
Yeah, as a paladin main, I think Rune Fencer might be the best tank. I think Rune Fencer
The
is
only
more applicable to most content.
yeah, the only thing that I would love to see for and like this is getting into like maybe like a philosophical shift in how we approach jobs and all this other stuff,
Hmm.
but like jobs like Rune Fencer. I'm thinking about other games perhaps that like have a tank role because it's like Final Fantasy 11 is so job based and it's like you are the tank when you're playing Rune Fencer. I would love to see like you get maybe a spell or a stance or something like that that like is like reduced or increased damage taken but increased damage output. So like you could kind of be
Mm,
a damage dealer in some scenarios and
You
kind
can
of
alternate. Like
yeah,
back in the day, Lionheart was really popular, and
right.
you're kind of reminiscing and regretting that DD Rune Fencer has fallen off.
Yeah, or I mean, like, and even like I have Helheim and I've used it on Rune Fencer before, but it's just like lacking even with swordplay and temper and all the other stuff. Like something to kind of to dial it up, to give it the option to dial up damage a little
right.
bit would
Okay.
be cool.
That'd be
This is where
interesting.
Shiraj says that like Rune Fencer is actually one of the highest damage output
If
jobs, and
if
you're not
this
playing it right.
if that's the case, does the same stand true for paladin?
Yeah, I mean, I think this the same like, you've been talking a lot about Paladin this past week and your revelations with it,
Mhm.
which, are just confirming theories that I've had for months and months. But
Yeah, so
um
to make a side note for people that haven't heard, um I've decided this week that Caliburnus is actually the best prime uh of
mhm,
all of them.
which I've been saying for
You
probably
right.
close to a year now.
Yeah, yeah. So and to be clear, the reason I've figured out that Caliburnus is the best prime is because I've been using Excalibur. I don't have a Caliburnus. So for anyone who doesn't know, the new Limbus meta is a Paladin Subdancer dual wielding. Main healing. No healer. The Paladin Subdancer is dual wielding for Spectral Jig and main healing. And I'm using Knights of the Round to skill chain with Savage Blade. This I think
Mhm.
it's a flawless strategy. I'm doing it right now and it's perfect. So Caliburnus only makes that setup better. So it might be
Yeah.
the best prime because it's the best Limbus setup.
And so like,
It's
from
getting
that, on that note, like I
Yeah.
think there was a time where it wasn't like Paladin Ninja super meta because it was just
Yeah.
like
yeah.
unkillable because of
Yeah.
shadows and because of defensive stuff, but also just doing ridiculous damage output.
I don't know if it was damage, but you still used a shield back then. So like in the 75
Mm,
era, you'd tank like things like Byakuya with Paladin Sub Ninja because you could keep hate and an auto attack would hit you for like 700 damage, which was like half your HP
mm,
back then. So it was a really strong setup for sure.
You didn't always use a shield. Sometimes you used an earth staff.
Oh yeah, if you're like
Earth Staff.
kiting, Earth
I
Staff
just
was very
remember like
popular.
I do remember like a paladin's dual wielding occasionally though, like with I can't remember what weapons they had access
Makahito
to, but
for the
something
enmity.
like a joy use or something like that for the multi hit. But
Hmm. Yeah, it
I
was
don't
dope.
know. I don't know what damage output they would do. Like what Swift Blade?
Hmm.
hell yeah.
Possibly.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, it'd be cool to see. It'd be cool to see just like, something you could do, even if it was like a job ability or something that had a 30-second duration and uh, you know, had some sort of, longer cooldown so that you could participate in burst phases or something like that.
Hmm.
Zerg Gartel, or, not just be a shield that's kiting or something.
Right.
If we're
Yeah.
jumping into Paladin and what needs to be changed for Paladin, I would say like it doesn't have enough magic ability. It relies solely on the Aegis, and
Okay.
it's Mava and MDB struggle. I
Right.
also think
Right. Right.
Paladin is really good at being like a fake white mage,
It is.
Mhm.
Yeah.
but
Well,
but
yeah.
Paladin but Paladin doesn't like have enough enmity compared to Rune Fencer to maintain like burst enmity or like kiting enmity.
Hmm. Hmm.
It's forced on having to cure itself for enmity in weird situations in a lot of places.
Yeah. Paladin has a lot of volatile enmity, but not a lot of cumulative enmity build up,
Yeah.
Mm.
which leaves it dragging behind Rune Fencer. But
I just
that
like
would
to
be
see them
something to
kind of evened
balance.
out.
Yeah, I agree.
I
Uh,
mean, we've seen, I mean, it's not like, I guess in some sense sortie, but
mhm.
like Dynamis Divergence and stuff, Paladins being the main healer and the main damage dealer.
Mhm.
Somebody in our link shell has healed the entire alliance on Paladin because
Yeah, it's super
Majesty
strong.
works on parties outside of yours.
Mhm.
He was the only healer and the main tank in the alliance and just kept the run going.
That's
It's
awesome.
crazy.
What about some other like staple jobs that you see pretty commonly? Are there anything else that like really stands out to you as a popular job but needing a change?
Mm. A popular job that needs a change. I mean, I would love to see stuff like with white mage, like
Hmm.
just to start at something that's, extremely universally used. Um, I think white mage is extremely potent. It's one of the, it has crazy strong healing output and everything else.
Hmm.
But also has parts of its kit like a Flatus Misery that when's the last time anybody used it?
Hmm.
And so that's like where I would love to see an adjustment. Like maybe they just change that ability to make it relevant to how people play the game now. Maybe it's that it gets trimmed and replaced with something else. But
Right.
yeah, I mean, stuff like that would be cool.
I think
Okay.
the thing with White Mage, right, is they tried to make a change to it, and everyone universally hated it, and they reverted it and said, "We're not
Yeah.
anymore."
Yeah, that was a big thing several years ago now. But wasn't that one of the last series of job changes that they did?
Before Majesty and before Hovershot, yeah, right.
What was the
Mhm.
thing they did with white mage? I don't remember it.
So they changed Afflatus Misery, I think specifically Asuna, but I can't remember
Mm.
exactly what they did with it.
Oh yeah, I vaguely remember this.
Yeah, I can't remember off the top of my head exactly what we did with it. If you remember what it was, feel free to leave a comment below and fill us in because it's been a long time and I don't feel like googling it right now. Unfortunately, I don't have the podcast. Surprisingly, this is going to be a shock to everyone I know, but we actually can't afford an assistant to Google stuff for us as we
Yeah.
are talking.
We would love
Um,
to get a producer just to
mhm.
like live switch and bring
Yeah,
up relevant images and
right.
do research, but
Yeah,
4 years
perfect.
ago, Reddit post: the
Mhm.
change to Afflatus Misery breeds bad healers, since it encourages you to overheal, blowing resources to build damage burst without regard for how useful the resource was, blowing resource-based healing spells outside of combat, blowing a healing spell to move, whether the spell restored any HP or not. There's a whole giant post about it.
Wow.
yeah.
So
I mean,
before
I don't know.
Dex threw us off our train of thought, we are taking sponsors. So if anybody
Yeah.
wants to give us money to hire a producer to do exactly what Dex just did, without
Yeah.
Dex having to do it, then feel free to Venmo me anywhere from $500 to $10,000.
What
uh,
so on the contrast to that, I know
mhm,
that like the pitch here is to get cash because
right.
I don't know if this is a shock to anybody either, but we're also not being paid.
Yeah.
So we would like some money, please.
Yeah.
But if there was a aspiring podcast producer that's like, oh
Oh
man, I
yeah.
would love to help you
Mm.
guys out, would you take an intern?
That's a great question. That would have to be brought to the blurred round table, because
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
What
that'd
about
be a
the
group
blurred
decision.
HR department?
The blurred what department?
Blurred HR department.
We don't have one of those. Uh we're not evolved enough to have employee rights here.
Yeah.
So we
Yeah.
can't, go to anybody to complain about lack of wages.
Yeah, no, there's none of that. It doesn't exist. There's no labor board. There's no like industry oversight or anything like that. You guys just need to be careful, because honestly, I'm surprised I've tolerated all of you this long. No, but thank you for looking that up, Dex. That's interesting. What was the issue again? It blew through MP too fast.
I
Was
think
that the main?
based on this person's post, because I can't see what the perspective change was, but the premise of it was that you would overcure people and people would cure people out of combat to get bonuses
Okay.
from Gladys Misery. I'm not sure how exactly it worked,
Yeah.
but this is just an example of people being like, "Fuck this shit. Why are they doing this?" And
Right, right.
they changed it back.
I think
So
go ahead.
apparently one Findo, thank you for the sponsorship. If anybody else wants to sponsor at twitch.tv, you can go to Myth's channel or my channel and you can sponsor us there. Afflatus Misery, the bonus effect on the spell Asuna was changed. Instead of allowing it to remove multiple enfeebling effects,
Mhm,
it was made to restore a percent of the target's HP for each status ailment removed. So I guess you would like Asuna would heal the target when you Asuna'd them,
mhm,
um, based on how many enfeebles were removed. So I guess like it was encouraging you to just let those stack up as heals,
Oh, ew.
and then sacrifice was a small change was made to sacrifice, which with the added complexity requiring the white mage to use the opposite stance of Flatus Misery before casting it. So in order to use sacrifice, you'd have to switch into Misery, I guess, to be able to use that
I don't
interesting.
like that.
ability.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder though if that precedence of the backlash from the community is what really drove Square to make the decision to stop making job changes like that.
Mm.
Ironically, I have heard some white mages say the change was really good, and they're
Mhm.
mad that people complained.
Oh yeah, I wasn't playing White Mage, or actually I think that was even really right around when I came back to the game or right before it, so
Yeah.
I honestly don't really know too much about it.
Yeah, I mean, I can see why they, people. I think people probably got upset because it was harder to do in a brainless way, if you know
Mhm.
what I mean. Like it was harder to just like AFK white mage because you'd
They
have to
added job
really,
complexity.
you had to like switch into misery to Suna because it would do an extra heal and all this other stuff, and then
Mhm.
use sacrifice and like I don't
So
know.
white mages were like, "There's a reason I don't play Scholar.
Yeah,
Please don't
yeah,
make me play Scholar."
Right, right.
yeah.
Even though Scholar
But
is unironically the best job in the game, I'll go on record and say that. But I don't know. I don't think adding job complexity to a job like White Mage would be terrible. But I do think White Mage like can be really really busy in the fights that you really need it for. You know what I mean? Like if
yeah.
you're healing like in Guy V25 or something like that, I probably don't want more job complexity on White Mage at that
Mhm.
point in time.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that like where it's a delicate balance
Hmm.
in how you have to approach something like that. I can imagine it's difficult from a game design perspective. But like in my opinion, the best change would be one that is it continues to allow you to have the potency you have
Hmm.
currently while adding optional complexity to do something under certain scenarios. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like where you can, again, like maybe white mage is able to swap into misery and drop some ridiculous banish bomb and then as somebody, but like it doesn't change how a flight of solace works. You can just sit there and power cure if you need
I
to.
do think
Yeah,
banishes and holy are underutilized, and even against undead, like
sure.
a lot of people don't use them at all. But then if you do, it's just okay. I got the defense down. I got the amnesia. That's it. I'm never doing it again.
Yeah.
Right,
Um,
right.
Another thing about white mage, I would say, if we're gonna stick on the white mage topic, this whole topic is like what's not being used and why.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So I think all the Cura spells need an overhaul.
Yeah, and like those are
Hmm.
attached to misery in a way, right? Isn't the whole point that Cura has potency and misery based
Correct.
on something?
Hmm.
So during a flightless misery, Cura's
Yeah.
potency is increased,
Yeah,
but those just don't get used at all.
right, right. I don't think misery in general is used very much these days. But
Cura 2, Cura 3,
I mean, I would love to
ooh,
see it.
I've never seen it.
I think that like any job that like I would love for there again, like I think that's a perfect example of what I would like to see
mhm.
misery being buffed and used in the way that I think that it was originally imagined, where like the white mage is on the front line, um, clubbing stuff to death with its prime club,
Hell yeah.
and also able to keep up with healing output because
Hmm.
its proximity cura spells are amped by damage output and stuff like
Well,
that.
as a
But
Yeah,
support class, that's been over the last 5 years. Like all support classes, for the most part, have been in, pushed towards damage dealing.
mhm,
Geomancer, Bard,
yeah,
Corsair.
yeah.
Um,
Where's
I
my
think that's a natural transition.
where's my eye level reverence mail? That's all I'm saying.
yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, let me go camp in Ergonite for 24 hours and fight against 20 other people for the flames to get my white mage GD body.
And I think,
What was
yeah, I think
that was the first one.
if paladin can if paladin can be a white mage, why can't white mage be a paladin?
That's a great question. They both use
Mhm.
clubs. You know what I mean?
Not
They're
really.
basically this. Vex, come on. Just let me say
So
some bullshit.
I hate to say this, but on Horizon, they changed mauls to make them more paladin friendly. Like that should be a thing.
That's
That
interesting.
is cool.
Hmm.
I do think as a warrior or as a paladin, I always want to use a hammer because there's something just viscerally satisfying about
This
beating something with a
in
blunt
in the
object on a
uh,
stick.
Hmm.
the fantasy setting, it's very common to see like a
Yeah.
holy person with a little
Yeah,
hammer.
yeah, like a flail or a mace or a whatever.
Hmm. Shirash says the
Something I
white
did not
mage
realize.
adjustments were good.
There you
Yeah.
go.
I
So
honestly think that most of the backlash was probably around automation, where people are like, I'm never going to be able to automate this. So
that's a
That
I'm
might
great
be it.
point.
pissed.
Yeah. Yeah.
On the Cura topic, I did not know that enmity gained from Cura is based on HP healed in a tiered fashion, unlike other spells.
Hmm. Interesting.
Whatever that means.
Yeah. That's
I'm sure full heal never gets used either
I do it for the lulls, personally. Like
for the wall.
yeah, yeah, like if I'm bored on white mage, I'll start full curing people.
I feel like full
Hell yeah.
cure is really nice to give a fat stone skin to people, but it's kind of like death in that it just consumes too much MP, and
Hmm.
I don't
Oh
know.
shit. White Mage Changes also had a method to remove amnesia. Okay,
Dang.
so
I
what's
want
why
I
are you
want
guys
those
complaining?
changes back.
Bring it
Dang,
back.
bring back the white mage adjustments. Holy shit.
And I think that like going through Afflatus Misery and like what we talked about with um whatever job, I think we mentioned it also, where there's like stuff to cut, there's fluff to cut.
Hmm.
And like this goes back to, they were recently talking about wanting to add a new weapon skill for a special weapon. And they're like, we can't, there's no more room in the tables, like we can't
So
add a new
on
weapon
that,
skill. And like there's plenty of stuff to cut.
on
Like you
that,
can
Yeah.
did you
trim
guys
stuff.
see the comment? Somebody commented about that specifically and
Mhm.
clarified that their comment about not being able to do that wasn't because of the limitations, but the limitations of the dev team and not having the resources to
Oh,
actually make that.
they don't know how, is what you're
Right.
saying.
Basically, yeah. And I thought it was interesting because he commented again, the same person, and he was like, "Well, the problem is that Square right now is in a place where they are going to take like the revenue they're getting from the new players and like the boom in Final Fantasy 11, and instead of putting that back into 11, which is making
Yeah.
them money, they're going to put that into other games that are inevitably
Yeah.
going to flop and then not make
Oh,
money."
that is a that's a we could again go off on a tangent and just this
Right.
episode becomes about that. But I think, ultimately we talked about Final Fantasy Auction House recently and like,
Hmm.
some of the tools there and like we can estimate and I think that recent like changes with Ashura and Bahamut and how we can kind of accurately see players move around
Hmm.
and it's validated by what the dev team's saying, right? So they as soon as Bahamut was closing in, and it's according to Auction House past Ashura in terms of active player count, which is
Yeah,
insane.
that is.
Um, uh, they basically said the same thing that like Bahamut was closing in and was getting close to
Hmm.
surpassing Ashura. So it's like our data is relatively accurate, right? And if you look at the active player counts, they're making enough money to program a weapon skill. You know what I mean? Like
Right,
it's a
right.
choice. It's a choice they're making not to reinvest any of that and just take it as, executive bonuses or whatever instead of
Mm.
actually utilizing any of that to better the game.
I think that's like the cynical way of looking at it because we'll never get their actual reports. Like,
Oh,
Right, for
no,
sure.
because then we would know how much money they're taking and funneling into executive bonuses.
I mean, while that's likely, I hold out, copium that they're not doing that.
Mhm.
Well, so what do you think that like the subscription revenue that is generated for Final Fantasy 11 is spent
I
on?
don't know how much servers cost and all that. I'm assuming it's a lot less than what they're making.
Mhm.
I don't know what the rest of the money goes towards,
Yeah.
frankly.
Right. Yeah. So anyway, back to the job, the job
Yeah.
topic. You know what job I would like to see get a small update? And like just to bring it back from like if you I feel like this job is kind of in the redheaded stepchild era of its life, and I think a small update could really push Dark Knight back into the mainstream.
Mm. Yeah, yeah. So just really quick,
Mhm.
we should talk about Dark Knight. Just to bring a recommendation of structure here. Do we want to like go down a list or do we want to keep jumping around?
So I'm trying to go from the top down. So
Okay,
I
okay.
want to talk about like the jobs that are more common before we go into the jobs that are like these need complete overhauls, like
Yeah.
ninja or like jobs like red mage that need complete overhauls.
Oh, right, right.
Yeah,
Because it's
yeah.
just absolutely not utilized
Yeah,
for
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
anything.
yeah, 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 exactly. You get it.
Okay, yeah. So Dark Knight, I think I mean, look, if we're gonna get into like
Mhm.
speculation and or like just wild ideas that are baseless on anything, there's some cool ideas for Dark Knight that would be
Mhm.
interesting. I think that it has fantastic damage output, especially during soul enslavement. It has great utility. Um, I would love to see like the paladin treatment of how it utilizes white magic to the same degree as on Dark Knight, right?
Mhm.
So like give give Dark Knight a majesty, but instead of like AoE, it's potency, where like on a crazy cooldown, like on a 5 minute cooldown, they could pop, you know, whatever dark name you have, and their fire 4 is like a manifestation or whatever, like it
Mhm.
just becomes crazy strong or whatever.
You
Some
like
sort of
an
like thing to
ambulance?
like, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, okay.
ebullience or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That'd be cool.
Isn't that Dark Seal? Maybe that already exists and I just don't know how Dark Knight works.
I think Dark Knight's current issue is its job abilities are on too long of a
Mm,
cooldown,
Mhm.
specifically, Last Resort. Last
yeah.
Resort, either its effect needs to last longer or the cooldown needs to be reduced because it relies so heavily on desperate blows for the attack reduction.
Mm,
Okay.
Um, Dark Knight relies on Sub Samurai in a lot of ways for Hasso,
True.
Mhm.
and
Oh yeah, because Last Resort has a haste buff. I always forget it has a job ability haste.
it can't be full time though. Shiraj almost isn't full.
Yeah.
You're
So
like a minute off.
here's what I think about Dark Knight, and I want to throw this out there because I don't know if this might be a good solution or not. But what if they allowed Dark Knight alone to break the haste cap, kind of like how it used to, but only while Last Resort is up by like maybe 10 to 15%. That way, it kind of makes up for its slow TP gain with the lack of like store TP traits and double attack traits or multi attack
I think
traits.
inherently that is Dark Knight's problem. That
Right.
the other DDs have now surpassed it because they're able to TP
Right.
faster, weapons go faster. Um, Dark Knight has this unique situation where like it has the drains and it
Mhm.
has dread spikes and it has origin and
Mhm.
it can just survive things that other jobs can't. But those situations don't come up.
Right. So in my mind, some sort of like unique trait to job ability haste that Last Resort can provide might make up for that. It
Yeah,
might also
I would.
break it. That's like a fine line.
Mm.
Like I'm well aware of that.
I think too, like removing some of the like unusable, like you have Dark Knight has like this really cool ability with the right equipment, with
Mhm.
the right combination of stuff to like literally have the most HP in the game, like just
Mhm.
capped HP. But like you have to do setup that isn't always available. Like you have to stop, make a darkness chain, burst your drain or whatever. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like it's a weird complexity. I don't fully understand how it works still, even though people have explained it to me. Um, but like it'd be cool if that was instead something that they could just self cast. You know, in a way, like maybe
You
it's
can
not.
weapon
Yeah.
dash with the gloves to start your skill chain. Is that what you're talking
Mm.
about?
Oh, no, I mean I don't even know, but like if you could just go into a fight and pump your HP up without having to like if you're doing Gartel or something,
Mhm.
you could just set that up for yourself versus having to pull an elemental to the boss wall, do it really quick, and then immediately go and start the fight. Like if it was a little bit easier, it would be cool.
Hmm.
Shiraj in chat said, "Let dread spikes get absorbed by TP moves." That'd be cool. Just make it tankier.
I don't know what that
Mm,
means,
yeah,
to
yeah,
be honest.
So when you get hit physically, your
Mhm.
dread spikes absorbs the physical hit and heals you instead. So, or
Right.
rather, it takes the physical hit but heals you back. So he's
yeah.
saying, make it so the damage you take from a TP move would you take the
Which
damage
is
but heal you
like
back.
often
Oh,
most of
okay.
the damage you take. Like is
Mhm.
Kind of
from
like
Right.
yeah.
Yagasumi in a way, but
Right.
not the same. I think
Interesting.
Dark Knight's biggest issue, other than being able to TP at the speeds that other jobs do, such as like Dragoon, Samurai, and
Mhm.
Warrior, is its lack of party contribution in terms of buffs and
Mm,
debuffs.
Mhm.
Warrior has Warcry, Dragoon has Angon, Dark Knight's like I absorb their stat.
yeah. Yeah, I think
It's
I
not
think
really
that's
good enough.
one of the other things is that Dark Knights, a lot of darks like cool enfeebles. Absorb TP, absorb strength, all that other stuff is really cool. But in the pace of the game currently, when are
Mhm.
you ever casting them? Um, so it's like it's really difficult to get those queued up because you have to like just cast at the beginning, hope that it lands, hope that it works, and then that's your only opportunity to do it.
I just had
Right.
a good idea.
What's that?
Um, well, Dark Knight has all the absorb spells, and you can absorb strength, vit, dex, yada yada.
Mhm.
A, they decay too quickly, and B, they're not potent enough. But the prospect of like I want to take its vit to make it weaker, and take its strength to make me stronger, and take its dex to make me more accurate, and then take its accuracy to make me more accurate. There should be just an all-in-one like impact. Impact removes it debuffs all spells, kind of
Right.
like
Right.
the way absorb does. There should be an absorb all.
Absorb attribute doesn't do that?
No, absorb attribute steals buffs.
Okay. Interesting. Hmm.
So like an absorb all just to get,
Mhm.
maybe make it cost a lot, an
Yeah.
arm and a leg.
Yeah.
but
Hmm.
it steals all the stats and
I
for a long period
What
of time.
what if what if absorb spells were fundamentally changed? You'd have to change and dark too, but what if an absorb was like a persistent self buff that you put on, where you put
Mhm.
up absorb strength and then it like acts like a dancer samba in a way?
That'd be
Oh,
interesting.
like applied on hit?
Like an absorb.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be kind of cool.
Mhm. I think what you guys are saying is really cool, and they go along the lines of Dark Knight as a job more.
Yeah.
But I think the fundamental problem that it's facing right now in terms of like gameplay and the quote unquote meta is exactly kind of what we said already with the TP slow, the TP generation
Yeah.
is slow. So as much as I would like the cool like unique stuff that makes the job be feel like that job even more, um,
Yeah.
within the
Well, what if
realm.
I mean
Hmm,
to that note,
mhm,
what if, the solution to that is that your absorb TP is an end effect
is actually
where
good.
you're like you
Yeah,
get a mini soul enslavement that's just persistent if
that'd
you
be
want
pretty
to
dope.
have it.
Yeah, make you be able to get like a two hit with a scythe or
Yeah.
a great sword while you have that up. Yeah, that'd be cool. I like that. I've there's one job that really desperately needs a fix,
Oh well,
and
wait, that
it's
would
the simplest fix ever. What's up?
I was just everybody ignore that. Please scrub
Okay.
that from the record.
Okay.
We can't change absorb TP because we wouldn't be able to do
To do
half of
Amnon?
the difficult fights in the game. Yeah.
Yeah, that's very true. Well, just let the leech from Beastmaster absorb more, and
Yeah,
we'll balance it
true.
out. So I think Red Mage desperately needs a fix, and you know
In
what it
that
needs? It needs Hastka. If you give,
oh,
if Red Mage had Hastka, I would play it. But because you
they
have to single target buff every single party
yeah.
member, I will never play Red Mage in a group. Like it's too much work. I'm too lazy for that.
Imagine all the time that would be saved collectively
Yeah,
by Haska. I mean, there should
yeah,
be like a carbon footprint impact note on how haste versus hastega would affect the global economy.
yes.
Would it really
Think
though?
about how much compute
I think
power
yeah.
is spent on individually hasting.
Think about how much Japan's GDP would go up if Heiska
Yeah.
existed. Yeah, I think it's true.
Why does Garuda get Haska too and Red Mage doesn't? And
Well,
why
Dude,
can't
because
Scholar?
yeah.
that's the only thing that summoners can claim they can do is
Mhm.
fleet wind and hastega too.
Well,
I,
let's put this out there because we
mhm,
haven't gotten the summoner yet, and that's obviously a job that's going to need like a massive overhaul.
mhm,
So like, let's take that stupid identity away and say let Red Mage and Scholar Haska.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think that Haystega exists
mhm,
in the game. It's
I
not
mean,
like it's like it's not like it doesn't exist. It is interesting that like you can accession phalanx, but you can't accession haste. Like they intentionally did that. Um, and yeah, I mean, I think it'd be a relatively simple fix
right.
to allow that, but yeah.
things like that just get parties started into content faster. And
Hmm.
as the game has evolved, it's extended beyond wait long periods of time for thing and then fight it as long as you want into instance content where
Yeah,
you have 1 hour or 15 minutes or whatever to fight X enemy.
Mhm,
It it creates this weird situation where like people try to find loopholes to get buffs onto parties with outside content. Like I'm gonna use a scholar to buff everybody and then enter the instance because we're in the same zone. We don't lose anything. Stuff like that.
yeah. I think
And
like
really
I can see
unnecessary.
the history of it. There's a history of it, and like, but at the same time, you look at other games like World of Warcraft, for example, used to have single target buffs like your Arcane Intellect and your Mark of the
mhm,
Wild and stuff, and they've changed those because like you had a 40-man raid and you're like waiting for the druids to Mark of the Wild everybody. It's just it's like dumb.
yeah,
There's no point. Um, yeah.
I agree completely. I don't
yeah.
think Red Mage needs like a lot. I think it's really, really strong.
No, Red Mage is probably one of the best jobs in the game right now.
But
I
that is something that is a pain point. Absolutely.
Yeah. It just looks. I feel bad for the red mages in my group because I know I would never do that amount of work. Is the thing. So,
It makes the job more of a chore than playing the job.
and red mage is already a chore because you have to have so much gear for it already to be a really good red mage. So I feel bad
So
for people that put in that work and then have to then single target buff everybody.
so how about this? Do you give them a stance that can't be put up at the same time as composure, but it allows
Oh.
their spells to be AoE? So then you could AoE refresh, AoE haste.
I think that might be an okay compromise because I don't think you need the extra duration from
Mhm.
composure a lot of the time. I mean, it's nice, but you already have so much duration on red
Then
mage.
you have to make choices, right? Like if you
Right.
want your extended buff, you single target it and you juggle it and you keep
Hmm.
composure up. But if you want to be on the go and just get everybody going, you can just put up this new stance and give
Right.
everybody
Yeah, that'd be cool.
and it would
I'm not
apply to
opposed to
everything,
that.
obviously, not
Right.
just hey.
Yeah. What other popular jobs do you guys think could use some updates? Like some small minor
Uh,
tweaks.
I think samurai is a good like example of that. Something that's very popular that just needs some minor adjustment, maybe to be more viable in more compositions that aren't just like samurai skill chain based.
That's interesting.
Um, like how many times do you see a samurai in Odyssey slashing fights like Kalunga and stuff like that?
Mm, mm-hmm,
Like, and why not?
mm-hmm.
It irks the fuck out of me that Samurai is not on Panaka.
Mm.
Well, we could talk about that. I mean, we've already had this conversation, I think, in terms of just like why is Warrior not on the one-handed axe? Like, give
Right.
us
So
why not?
I think Sam isn't in a terrible spot. But what I do think is because what I've recently been doing is I normally do a solo DD in Odyssey segments. I do two Corsairs and a
Hmm.
solo DD, and I do Sam sub Dark Knight. And I find that Last Resort really helps Sam out, especially if you don't get a soul voice reset for the last couple floors. So Sam's biggest detriment is its low attack compared to like Warrior and Dark Knight and
Yeah,
Dragoon.
and in a meta where they've decided PDL is the new cool stat for everything.
Right,
Does
right.
Dragoon really have more attack than Samurai? I could see the other two.
I'm purely basing Dragoon off of the fact that the arm lead is, in my opinion, the strongest physical weapon skill in the game,
Hmm.
and
Well,
obviously
I
Nagling is
I
really
don't know
strong too.
enough because I'm stupid,
Hmm.
but maybe it's the fact that the Wyvern gives the buff.
Maybe, yeah. I don't play Dragoon enough, but I'm fairly sure that Dragoon doesn't need as much attack buffs as Sam does.
Interesting. But
Yeah,
that sounds like wrong from an aesthetic standpoint.
from an aesthetic standpoint.
Yeah, like when you think of job fantasy,
Hmm.
like Warrior's crushing shit, Dark Knight is super powerful. The
Hmm.
Samurai power fantasy, like you look at the job aesthetically, and it's this big dude in armor with a giant chopper.
Yeah.
He should have
Hmm.
a lot of attack.
Yeah,
I would say Dragoon has less attack aesthetically than a Samurai.
mm.
So is
but
weird to me.
I think right now Dragoon is the strongest melee DD. I've said this before,
Yeah.
and
Oh
I
yes, but
stand
that's
behind that.
strictly because of the prime.
Strictly because of the prime, but also
Well,
like
yeah.
Nagling Dragoon is super strong.
Even then, like this isn't like I'm playing Dragoon right now.
Hmm.
I'm just using it for fun. I got a +2 Dragoon earring in Limbus.
Hmm. Oh,
Um,
Congratulations.
congrats.
I don't have Dire Mute. And
Hmm.
as I'm saying this, I just did a 77,000 impulse drive in
Yeah.
Limbus.
Yeah.
Legend.
That's like doing 150 something K weapon skill if
Yeah.
it were outside. So like it's a strong job. It does has really high damage potential. It's actually has some cool utility, like in terms of hang on is a unique defense down.
Mhm.
It has AoE healing with healing breath, etc. Scode, who's our resident dragoon, makes a good point though. One of a few jobs that has a huge detriment to using its SP for some reason.
Mhm.
Spirit Surge,
Right.
you lose your Wyvern and then you lose the buff that is your entire point for
Right,
having a
right. But the
wyvern.
second SP is super
Yeah.
strong, right? The what
Fly
is
Yeah,
high
it?
fly
too.
Fly
high.
high,
Yeah.
yeah. The jumps are just so crazy
I
that
think
it's
third
really good.
third just shouldn't consume the wyvern. Like it should just get it should
Yeah.
double the bonus essentially. Like
Mhm.
you get the bonus of
Right.
having it out, and you have the wyvern bonus on your body.
Yeah, that'd be cool. If I were to change like one thing about Dragoon, it would be access to different gear sets that aren't so awkward
Oh, yeah,
feeling.
yeah,
Like I
yeah.
don't like the fact that in order to have a really strong defensive set, I have to put Nyame in my TP set
Mhm.
for Dragoon. Again, I don't really play Dragoon very much. I have a limited understanding of it, but it
It's
does
gotten a little better.
has it.
Yeah, a little. It's
Mhm.
still in the you're making an argument that's true. Like they're not on enough pieces.
Right. I
Yeah.
wish
Why was
Dragoon was
Dragoon not
on
on
something
Armada?
like Malignance.
Yeah,
That would make it for me.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Right.
I think
I mean, you got
Sakata was the
Gleddies,
perfect
but
opportunity for Dragoon, and they
Oh
were not.
man, could you imagine how busted Dragoon would be if it was on Sakpatas right now? Oh my gosh.
be crazy.
Yeah.
Maybe I mean, maybe we'll get that with Limbus. Finally they'll add
Mhm.
augmentable gear for stuff from Ultimate Omega, and it'll only
Right.
take you
It'll only take you
12 to 18
7 months
months to
of
augment it.
grinding 40 hours a week.
Yeah.
It'll be your full-time job for the next 4 years,
Yeah.
but you'll get it. Oh, jeez. I'm doing Limbus right now, and I gotta say, it's great. I think the
Mhm.
reason people don't like Limbus is because you're not on Paladin
Doing a
Subdancer dual wield.
podcast.
Well, that
You're
too.
not doing a
Yeah.
podcast and totally distracting yourself from the fact that you have to be doing this right now.
um, any other popular jobs that you guys think could use a small tweak?
Do you consider Blue Mage popular?
I think it's in the middle.
I
I
think
think,
it's
That's
a
fair.
popular, a fan popular job that could
yeah.
use tweaks to be more viable in the meta. I think that's true. I think that to say, and I know that you have an exceptional blue mage dex, but like again, it's used for gimmicks
Hmm.
in a
Oh, it's
way,
absolutely niche meta.
Yeah.
but it needs some significant changes to be made into something that's like, oh yeah,
Hmm.
we're putting together a group for sortie. I have a really good blue mage. Oh, cool. Yeah, we can work around that.
Right.
Like,
I think
uh,
Square Enix is afraid to make blue powerful again. In the late 2010s, it was very powerful,
Hmm.
and that
hmm.
was like the main DD that everyone took over heavy DDs.
Right. See,
I
normally
just
this is
remember
the
unlocking.
um.
I remember unlocking bludgeon and
mm,
just like
yeah.
Oh
one
yeah.
shotting stuff for 30 levels. Yeah.
So blue mage leveling back in the day at 75 was a completely different animal. Like
Hmm.
you
Oh
could
yeah,
bring
so
4
strong.
blue mages to a party, and they would just spam spells that were basically weapon skills or stronger.
Hmm.
Mhm.
And back then, getting TP for a weapon skill took like a whole fight, so it was really broken.
Normally at this
Um,
point of the podcast, I would like give Dex's Blue Mage a compliment and talk about how he did V15 and bows back in the
Yeah.
day with while he was like the main DD and doing TP train and all that stuff.
Oh
But
yeah.
Shiraj has been blowing up his ego too much lately, so
Oh
I'm
right.
not gonna compliment Dex anymore.
Oh
Um
yeah. I mean,
yeah.
I did pick up a little bit of like envy when
Right.
Shiraj kept repeatedly
Mhm.
praising Dex as one
Yeah.
of the
Yeah.
top two best
Yeah.
rangers that have ever played the
Exactly.
game. So
Yeah, we can't inflate Dex's ego any more than it already is, for sure.
I
So
think he's exaggerating.
so anyway, now that we all know that Dex wears ambuscade gear full time, what do you think should be changed about Blue Mage Dex?
Um, Diffusion is on a long cooldown, way too long.
Okay.
Um, like Blue Mage's main issues are twofold. Its job abilities suck;
Mhm.
they're on too long of a cooldown,
mhm.
and its spells can't be augmented. So those are the two reasons. I can go like deeper into them, but diffusion is on too long of a cooldown. Being able to AoE one spell every
Mhm.
once in a blue moon as a buff for your party is really important to the job.
Okay.
Um, if they need to nerf Mighty Guard, I don't give a shit. Like everything else would be great. Like giving an attack steroid to your party would be really helpful. Giving
Okay.
defensive things like on the fly. The fact that you can't, you're hand tied is bullshit.
So
Um,
to clarify about the blue spells, that means like your gear doesn't affect their stuff. Is that what you're
correct.
talking about? Okay.
There's no like
Um,
blue magic enhancing duration plus, that kind of
there,
stuff.
Right.
you can only augment the attributes of spells and nothing else.
Hmm.
So by that I mean like if you cast a physical or magical spell, each of them they're similar to weapon skills in a sense, so they have a stat that augments them, and you can wear more attack for physical spells or more strength for physical spells to augment that spell.
Okay.
But you cannot change its duration or its potency if it's like a spell you cast that has an N effect, you can't increase that N effect's potency.
Hmm.
If you have a spell that is enhancing, you cannot increase that spell's duration or potency.
Okay.
So blue mage, like it's intended to be a mage, but it's shoehorned into being like a DD with a lot of different weird buffs
Yeah.
because they didn't lean into the mage aspect.
Correct me if this is wrong, but for me, Blue Mage when it was popular was spell centric and most of its damage came from spells. And now as it's lost popularity, um all of its damage comes from meleeing and not from
That's almost
spells.
that's almost completely true. Yeah.
Okay. That's really a bummer. So
The
basically make the
75
spells
era blue
unique.
mage the 75 era blue mage was known for its plethora of really potent spells,
Mhm.
and its DDing aspect was like secondary. So on H&Ms you would sub thief and sneak attack, trick attack, chain affinity,
Cannonball.
cannonball,
Hell yeah.
and do like
Hmm.
1500 damage when everyone else was doing like 500 damage weapon skills. You
Right.
would do heat breath instead of a nuke. You would do eyes on me instead of a nuke to be a black mage.
Hmm.
Um, a lot of that is just gone. Like, yes, cleaving is a thing because you can do like 30k
Oh
nukes and
yeah.
trash mobs die instantly. But
Hmm.
Hmm.
on real targets, those nukes don't do enough.
Right. Especially with the AoE nerfs that we've been getting, which has been
Correct.
a
Yeah.
lot. I remember Crawler's Nest used to be super fun when we could blue mage AoE stuff or Aeolian Edge or whatever people were
Blue
using.
mage is essentially king of the trash bin because like it can destroy every trash mob in the game,
Yeah,
Yeah.
whether it be nuking them to death, entombing them to death so they can't act, or
right.
just freaking doing cruel joke and they all fall
Yeah.
over in Odyssey.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
But whenever that gets like somewhat good in real content, Square
yeah.
Enix says, no, no, no. Stop
Mhm.
it.
It's a real shame you can't cruel joke in Limbus. That'd
Oh
be
yeah.
I'm
Can you
just
so
mad you
imagine?
fun.
can't cruel joke Crawler's Nest anymore. Why did they remove
Yeah,
it?
that's very true. You know
I
what
mean,
I miss
arguably
Because everybody was doing it.
from the Locust Mobs is Earth Crusher on Black Mage. That was a lot of fun. Get like
people
70k
like
Earth
make arguments
Crushers.
that it was specifically an Ashura issue where
Mhm.
too many people were pulling 100 mobs at once, and then
They're
some
not
people were getting.
wrong.
But
Yeah.
like, I think that's an issue of scarcity.
Mhm.
There were not any other camps like that, and if they
Right.
just made more Locust camps
Yeah.
and more Apex camps, it wouldn't
Yeah.
have been an issue.
Turn the entire Shadow Rain area into Locust Mobs.
Sure,
Just the entire like fucking expansion. Turn it into Locust
but back to
Mobs.
Oh yeah.
Blue
There's
Mage, we were
there's
like,
so many areas that
Mhm.
are missed
oh yeah,
opportunities to just expand.
I could do a
Yeah.
podcast on that.
Yeah.
There's a
I
lot of
was I
areas.
was yeah.
There's a lot of areas I would advocate for.
Mhm.
Yeah. I was actually doing Wings of the Goddess missions recently and I was running through Lavalu. Um the like orc area. And like there's one
Later
area
named
you run
Devoy.
to what's that?
Later named Devoy. They
Yeah,
changed the
yeah,
name after the
exactly.
war.
Right.
Um and like there's one area that you run through and like I think that you should be protective of areas that are mission related because you don't want to like make it harder for new players or whatever,
Yeah,
but
Sure.
like there's so many areas in all the strongholds, the beastman strongholds, like that there's so many mobs and I'm like just
Mhm.
change these to locust mobs. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
change these to
in
apex mobs or
Yeah.
locust
in
mobs and
Lavaloo
like
on the bottom right. I don't know if you know the Devoy map, but on the right there's that little intersection that Hawk-eyed Natbat spawns,
mm,
and then on the bottom right there's a huge open area with tents. That would be a
Yeah.
perfect spot for it.
Yeah.
But that's where
Like
campaign
where
battles
the
go.
warrior artifact axe or something is there, I think.
I think
But
a
yeah,
massive detriment to campaign is that they cannot make adjustments to those areas where
yeah,
campaign battles happen.
yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But we've diverged a little bit off track, I
Mhm.
think. Blue Mage,
Yeah, yeah,
AoE.
yeah.
Blue
Isn't doesn't Blue
Mage.
Mage have like a job ability that just basically doesn't do anything?
Are you
Which
talking about
one?
like an SP?
I I don't know. I can't remember. It might
So
be an SP, it might
I
be
was saying
something
Blue
else. Like,
Mage's job abilities are its worst part.
yeah.
Chain Affinity and Burst Affinity need to be like 30-second cooldown, like or like 1 minute and then 30 seconds after merits or whatever.
Hmm.
Mm,
Kind of like Sneak Attack, Trick Attack. Right now they're too long, and the ability to Magic Burst or make a skill chain with your spells is
Hmm.
too limited. Like the spells have not aged well, and they don't do enough
Right.
damage to warrant them being on a long cooldown.
Right.
There are situations like in KEI, I don't know how you pronounce it,
Hmm.
where I've been on Blue Mage and I wanted to help burst him, and then I'll do a burst affinity, I'll do a great nuke, maybe better than the Black Mages, and then I have to sit there and wait, and they do a bunch more. Um,
Oh yeah.
and to your point, Hegmo, Blue Mage's SP1 is Azure Lore, which is basically Chain Affinity and Burst Affinity combined with
Hmm.
a better modifier. It like overhauls the modifier 2 times instead of like 1.5 or whatever.
mm,
Hmm.
But for 30 seconds, you can chain and burst all you want, but it only lasts 30 seconds.
yeah.
I think that's one of the few SPs that should last like 2 minutes.
Fair enough.
Okay.
But that's like Blue Mage's main issue. I think it offers a such a wide variety of utility. You can't really like give it too much power
Right.
because then people will just abuse it. And its physical DD is super strong, so
Hmm.
you can't make its buffs so much stronger potency wise. I just think its ability to give the party some of that utility is lacking.
Yeah.
And I think its ability for its spells to do enfeebles or NFX
Hmm.
debuffs is lacking.
Okay. Is there anything else that you would want to change about it?
I'd want a lot more spells to go chase, but
Yeah.
More
That'd be cool.
spells? Oh my goodness.
I
Isn't
want
like
more
Well,
the
spells.
people in like Final Fantasy 14 that like are excited when they add more fish to the fishing log?
you got to
Uh,
understand, Dex is a completionist. So if you give him more stuff to complete, he's going to be happy. You know?
Dude, when they added more spells back in the day, like Abizia era, I was
Right.
so stoked. I was so happy to go chase those spells.
Oh yeah. That's
on a
awesome.
conscious, so ignoring the nostalgia element to it,
Mhm.
learning spells is the reason I don't play Blue Mage because
I
I
love
find
learning.
it painful. I find it like physically painful to sit there
Yeah.
and spam Dia on a mob waiting for it to use an
Yeah.
ability and then it uses it and then you don't learn it.
I got to
I like
say I'm with
it
Hegmo
drives
on
me
this one.
literally insane. Would you so and knowing look, I just understand other people's perspective. I know this is like something that's near and dear to your heart,
Mhm.
but like do you think that like in 2025 maybe they add some new spells for you to go chase and you have they're like new spells that you have to go learn. You can't do them, but like what if there was a little blue mage NPC that would just download some spells for you as a starter pack? I feel like that would make it so
just
much more
just
accessible.
I,
plug in your Game Shark and get access to
Yeah.
20 spells.
so if you could go to Raubin in town and be like,
Yeah.
"Hey, I want to learn how to do blue magic," and he's like,
Yeah.
"Listen, kid, this is the shit that you need," and he gives you like
I mean, even if
20
it was like
spells.
a fucking quest where it's like, okay, if you go kill this soul flare and then come back, like it'll unlock the latent knowledge and and like making me make
Get
you do
mind
something,
blast.
but not like spend 4 hours learning 20 different spells each. So you've been doing it for
Uh,
three weeks. You know what I
so
mean?
the blue magic thing, like the mob that you're targeting, in order to learn the spell, you increase your chances as your skill is overcapped to that mob's level. And then the gloves also provide a percent chance
Mhm.
bonus to learn. And I'll agree that both of those things are not enough. Like
Yeah.
a lot of people just go straight unlucky. I think back in the day to learn cocoon, it took me like 4 hours plus.
Yeah.
Um,
Dang.
And then like certain spells like Cruel Joke or Mighty Guard where you can only fight one mob in an
Oh
instance,
yeah,
and sometimes
you're
you just get
doing
completely screwed.
Mhm.
you're doing what's his name in vagary optional battle for like
Yeah.
I did it with somebody like 8 times in a row, and we finally
I've heard
fucking
horror
learned it.
stories of like
Yeah,
30 plus Shinryus and not
yeah.
learning Mighty Guard.
Oh
Jeez.
yeah.
I don't think that that's acceptable. I think that's a bit much. They should
Mhm.
increase the chance.
Right.
But
Especially in instant stuff, like maybe
yeah,
it's guaranteed
yes.
or something, but
I think they should increase the chance. I think your concept of make a quest for maybe not every spell, but certain
yeah.
spells to like have an alternate route of learning. That'd be
Mhm.
cool. I don't think that's going to happen realistically because of the resources and the dev team, but um I do think that you
Well, I
can't
mean,
really take
realistically,
away.
none of this is gonna happen.
True, true.
Yeah, I don't actually expect anything to happen for sure.
Yeah.
In my mind, like adjusting values of spells is a
Mhm.
lot better than making
Mhm.
a new quest, you know, like I think one's more likely to happen than the other. But you're right. I think none of it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Um, the final thing I'll say about Blue Mage is that, like, I do agree with you in that making these spells so obnoxious to learn is a turnoff for a lot of players.
Mhm.
But I do think it scratches an itch, for me at least, of like a 75 player when you go NM hunting and like you finally get the NMs drop. It's like it's a dopamine drop and it's exciting.
Mhm.
I like that aspect of it, and, having not been able to learn a new spell in, like, 5 years has been really sad.
Yeah. I Blue Mage has always been one of those jobs that looks really cool to me, and I've always wanted to play it, but I don't know if I ever will because of
Yeah.
hunting the spells.
I think
Me
there's
and
10
Myth
or
are in the
15 species
same.
that you don't learn spells from currently.
Mm.
Oh, wow. Myth and I are in the same boat. Blue Mage is my favorite job, like, just from, like, an aesthetics perspective, from, like, a
Yeah.
coolness vibe
Yeah.
that I will literally never play.
Yeah.
They could
Totally.
probably adjust the traits on spells too, or the stats on spells, like, either to make it simpler to understand,
Mhm.
or from a UI perspective, like, they every spell adds points and towards a trait, and every 8 points into a trait gives you that trait, like, that's not intuitive at all.
Mm.
Mhm.
You know what other job I
Um
have a
I
bone to
think
pick
yeah.
with?
Oh, go ahead.
I have a bone to pick with Scholar. I
Oh,
want
okay.
I want Modus Veritas to fucking do something.
I would love Modus
Yes.
Veritas
So-
to be good
I'm
or to be
so
removed
mad.
and give us
Yeah.
something new.
Yeah, either get rid of it completely or make it do literally anything. Because right now, it does nothing. It's so bad.
On the top 10 list of job abilities that suck, that's top 3.
It
So
makes me so
that
mad.
was the
Mhm.
story, like, the history with that. Refresh my and chat and everybody
So the
else's
reason why it
memory.
got nerfed,
Mhm.
I'll give it to you right now,
Yeah.
Mhm.
probably because of absolute virtue, but it was abused otherwise.
Wasn't it
Yeah.
abused more recently with like Helms?
I don't think it
I
got that far.
I think I remember seeing it in Rise and Jima,
Mm.
but I could be wrong.
Maybe. Maybe,
So
but
people would
the reason
basically, what the previous reason was that as you cast spells with Modus Veritas, it would scale on itself. So you
Mhm.
just bring a bunch of scholars or something.
the way it worked was,
Right.
the way Modus Veritas is supposed to work is you cast a Helix on a mob, and when you use Modus Veritas, it consumes all of the ticks of the spell as full damage and removes the spell off the
Mm.
mob. So, like,
Mhm.
if
Oh,
Modus
nice.
Veritas would last for 5 minutes and do however many ticks over 5 minutes, it does all the ticks at once, and it removes the debuff on the mob. So it's
Mhm.
like
Okay.
it makes it a nuke.
Yeah. I
So,
So
the
might
in
be
this
problem
day
with
and
it
age with spell like durations and it's ticking for 10,000 damage, you would you would just drop a 500k nuke if you
right.
Modus Veritas.
the problem with
Basically.
that is one scholar would put a Helix on a mob, and if 20 scholars used or if 18 scholars used
Mhm.
Modus Veritas at
Mm.
once on the same tick, it would all apply to that one Helix, and
Yeah.
everyone would get the damage.
Oh, okay.
Which is dope.
Nice.
That's the coolest thing
So
that's
you
ever
just
happened
queue
in this game.
you queue up. It's like
Yeah.
the fantasy of black mage, six black mages joining a party and casting meteor,
Mhm.
but but the scholar version where we're like, oh yeah, oh yeah, you think you're cool because you can cast this
Classes
spell.
in session.
Oh
Here,
yeah.
here is 10 million damage. You know, and
I'm pretty sure that was used to abuse and kill Eps of Virtue at one point. I'm not sure though.
I'm sure it was. And all I'm saying is that if Modus Veritas wasn't nerfed, Chaos and Bahamut would be dead by now.
that's true.
So like bring it
I don't know
back.
about all that.
I don't either. But I'm just gonna say that's truthful, even though I could be like way off.
Yeah.
I think helixes should do a percent tick, or I don't know what the balance would be, but a
Mhm.
percent tick based on the damage dealt, not just cap at 10k no matter what.
Yeah.
Mm,
So like if your helix did a 70k, it would do like 25% of that.
yeah. I
I
don't
think that'd be cool.
I don't know if there's any content right now where we need helixes to do more damage. I just want some of the job abilities from Scholar to actually do something.
Yeah. I think aside from that, like, uh, I think that Scholar needs a few. I think it's in the minor adjustment camp
Yeah, for
where,
sure.
like, Scholar is probably like from a concepts perspective and a class fantasy perspective, probably one of the most
Oh
well
yeah, I
designed
agree.
jobs in the game.
Oh yeah, and it's extremely complex too. Like it's got a
Yeah.
lot of depth to it, so people can really like min max the shit out of it.
Hmm.
It's also like one of the top 5 jobs in the game.
Yeah, no, it's super strong. It has a lot of uses. It's definitely not one of the jobs that like needs a complete rework. I just want to complain
Yeah.
about it because it's one of my favorite jobs.
No, and absolutely. I think all this whole conversation stems from like I play this job and there's these
Hmm.
like redheaded stepchild spells or abilities on it that just don't do a damn thing at all.
Yeah.
Right.
Why? And that's completely valid. Like even if a job is really good, if you have an ability that's complete ass, it should not be there or be reworked.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna have
Like
to
So like,
find the lore behind the nerf now because I feel like it's
yeah.
was wasn't as far as long ago as AV. Because I mean that
Yeah.
probably was used for that, but I think
I
it was
mean,
more
yeah.
recent than that.
I personally think that's why it got nerfed. It might have gotten nerfed again
Hmm.
to the point of unusability after that. It might have still been usable.
Hmm.
I don't recall. I was
Yeah.
gonna say like Modus Veritas now in its current state is an unusable job ability.
Oh
But
yeah.
I mean, the quick Google says that it was nerfed on June 21st, 2010.
2010. Holy shit.
Yeah.
15 years ago. Wow.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just wrong. It it would be the first time that's ever happened. But I hope you guys. uh, any other jobs that you guys think are in the meta that need small tweaks?
well, you're saying Warrior doesn't need any changes. Like, what's Warrior's worst job ability? Defender? Defender has a use.
Restraint.
Defender is actually, I feel like restraint. I pop it. I don't know if it does anything.
It does.
Defender is actually really. I'd use Defender a lot. It's
I think
cool
Defender's
for
useful.
defensive stuff, and also like I think Myth was the one that told me that you net positive attack and defense if you use a Berserk
Yeah.
and Defender at the same time.
Yeah. It's strong
Um,
to stack them.
I think one that I don't often use is Aggressor. Um, and maybe
Aggressor's
I'm
pretty
wrong for
weak.
that.
No,
Is there
you're
a
really
reason? Isn't
not.
that just an accuracy steroid?
It's 25
It's
accuracy. It's
yeah,
not a
it's
percentage like Defender or Berserk. It's just 25
Okay.
accuracy.
So that was really strong back in the day, and now it's really shit.
yeah,
Right.
yeah, and it's also like it's you're the berserk of accuracy, so it increases your accuracy, decreases your evasion.
Yeah. The
Um,
problem with aggressor is that if you're in a position where you need 25 accuracy from a job ability that you can't maintain full time, you're fucking up. You're fucking something up.
yeah, yeah. Unless you're like, I don't know, your something gets dispelled off, your
Interesting.
Right.
accuracy gets dispelled off you, and you desperately need 25 accuracy, but it just doesn't have
Right.
a common use.
Yeah.
Um,
That's
The
crazy. So
case,
I'm
the use
seeing
case I could argue for aggressor is if like you're in sortie and you have that time, that downtime between bosses, maybe that 25 accuracy, because you can full time, theoretically you could full time that during the boss fights. You could take
Yeah.
advantage of that potentially, but
uh,
it's not something I would recommend.
I'm seeing that the gear that increases the duration, the body and the head for aggressor
Mhm.
doesn't increase the stat. And then
I don't believe
also
so.
that it doesn't. And then also that aggressor natively used to enhance ranged accuracy, and that was removed
Mm,
because they added the trait aggressive aim, which is useless.
Yeah.
I see.
Um, why? Like, as a ranger, sharp shot gives 40 attack, 40 accuracy, and gets
Yeah.
increased to 56 with the pants. Like, shouldn't that be the same thing?
Yeah, I don't know.
No idea. Probably.
That's silly.
What other job abilities does warrior have that don't often use? You know what I don't ever use? Warrior's charge. I've had it merited before.
Yeah, it used to be a
And
lot
we
better
go
than
into
it is now.
yeah.
I have, I think, one merit in it just because lol.
Yeah.
But I can't say the last time I used it.
I could do a whole episode on merits. I think they all should be
Yeah.
uncapped.
Let's do a merit tier list one day.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
That
can.
sure, that's an easy one.
But I don't know. I don't think
I
warrior
would
needs anything. I think it's strong
mm,
enough as it is.
I
I
just
think
wanted to
that
say, like, this is
tomahawk.
one of the best jobs, and
Yeah.
it all
Yeah.
has, like, good job abilities, and then
Yeah.
Right.
There's
comparatively,
a
other
few
jobs have
minor
job
like
abilities that
nitpick
suck.
changes. Yeah. I
True.
think that tomahawk and angon both need to be fixed because they're so broken.
Mhm.
In that when you do the job ability, 90% of the time, the like weapon model doesn't load in your hand, and that makes me angry.
Yeah. It looks like you're just
I
throwing your
want to
weapon.
see my tomahawk.
Yeah, that's fair.
Imagine if they made it, like, enormous, like a 14 kinda thing, like, you just summon a gigantic axe and you whack the thing with it.
Yeah. Let me take a
Good
look
job
at
up next on
the
your
job
thought.
list here.
If you
So
wanna talk, like, B tier jobs, I think the B tier jobs that
uh,
all need adjustments are a ranger, black mage, and monk.
you think Ranger's a
one
B tier
before.
job?
Yes.
Ooh,
Do you
before we
wanna go
move
C
on,
tier? Do you think it's lower?
I do, yeah.
Yeah,
I
okay,
know
C tier.
we're kind of bouncing, but we
Mhm.
did skip Bard. Bard is one job that I think is
Mm.
extremely meta that needs very like probably no changes. Yeah,
I think the only
honestly, I
change
think
that
Bard's
Bard could reasonably get is, like, more enfeebles,
yeah.
and that's about it. Like, I think it sucks that they don't have better enfeebles. They have, like, 4.
Hmm.
Mhm. Okay.
Um, they have the lullabies, the horde lullabies. They have,
Elegy,
the 2 elegies. They don't get the
magical
3rd tier of
resistances.
elegy, which mobs get. It's in the
Mhm.
game. Um,
If
they
I
have
could change one thing for Bard, it would be all song potency and song duration would be equal, so it's easier to overwrite songs. That's
Mm.
uh that's what I would like.
so all the gear just that's too much change. I understand what you're saying, but, like, they'd have to change all the gear.
Well, I mean, just make it so that like you're able to have as much min plus as you are minuet plus with like the same duration.
Oh,
That's
so
all.
every spell should like, if they need to be knowledge like, mindful, if they're
Right.
gonna add +1 to min, then they need to add
Yeah.
+1 to everything across
Right.
other pieces here.
Right.
That is fair. It does suck that the problem with that is, inherently,
Mhm.
a bunch of gear, by a bunch, like 4 pieces of gear, have song duration plus,
Right.
and when casting these songs, sometimes your plus spell conflicts with the plus duration, and you tend to choose the plus duration over it. So a good example for this is ballad.
Okay.
You will never wear the Philly legs, which give ballad plus, because you will be wearing the Inyanga legs, which give duration plus. So inherently, your ballads are a little bit weaker in potency.
Yeah, and
Right.
because like the math on that, right? Because
Yeah,
it's a dot or it's a tick buff. You net more mana
you trade
from the
one potency.
duration. Yeah.
You trade one potency and a little bit of duration for more duration, which makes for more
Yeah.
mana. But in doing so, because you don't get both the +1 and the duration from the legs, other spells will last longer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So the problem isn't so much that every spell doesn't have a plus variant, it's that not all slots are weighed equally because some
Right.
slots get duration.
Right. And that's all that I would like balanced.
It'd be nice if those duration slots were just accessories or something.
Yeah. Make a Limbus accessory with duration. There we go. I like that.
I mean, if they
um,
remove the Nyanga legs from the game and then added
Mhm.
that, then yeah, keep it the same without adding
Yeah.
more. It's already broken.
Yeah, for sure.
The thing I would
can
want.
I
Go ahead.
I was just gonna well go on with Bard because I was gonna change jobs.
The thing that I would want of everything is like I would just want a silence. It's thematic. Bard is
Yeah,
always
a
sound.
silence would be cool. I think the
Hmm.
two like giving more variability to what kind of like jobs can do certain things, like a Dia equivalent would be cool, like a defense down or something like that debuff from Bard
Okay.
would be nice. But
I have a lot to say about Ninja regarding that.
yeah, oh for sure. Before we get into Ninja, which is it's at the that's desperate needing rework. I want to talk about a job that isn't often played, and I think it doesn't need very many changes, but it's still not often played
Okay.
for a core reason, and that's Monk. Like I think Monk
Yeah.
is extremely strong. Honestly, most of its job abilities and the way that it works is great. Its core problem is that it only does blunt damage.
Yep.
Yeah. I
Very strong
think,
at TP
yeah,
suppression.
Formless Strikes should do a lot more than it does currently, in my opinion.
I also just think that different hand to hand should have different properties.
I see that
Yeah.
that's a really interesting idea, and I think that it could work, but I think it creates too much like conflict where like you end up having to use weapons and get all your remas for different things. Like if Svarai or
Well,
whatever were blunt, and then God hands were slashing, Vareth Ragnar piercing, but then you end up needing all those, and they have different traits and attributes and stuff.
what if they weren't
Um,
slashing, piercing, blunt? What if they were all blunt, but God hands bypass 10% piercing or
yeah,
something? You know what I mean?
what I would like to see instead of that is a similar to formless strikes, like a
Hmm.
stance thing where like you go into, you can pop crane stance and you do your attack animations are the same, but you do piercing damage with your hits for the duration of the job ability. Or you go into tiger stance and it changes you to slashing damage.
That'd be interesting.
That would be fucking
What does Formless Strikes do right now? It's unaspected damage.
yeah, unaspected damage.
And that does that not work on the weapon
Only
skills? Is that the
only
problem
yeah,
with it?
only on auto attacks. It does not apply to weapon skills, correct?
Okay, Shiraj says no, it's breath damage.
Oh, it's breath. Oh,
Okay.
interesting.
So, and it's only on auto attacks. So,
Yep.
I don't understand why Formless Strikes can't even, if let's say the resources are an issue like we've argued for weapon skills and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Instead of instead of adding more like stances and stuff, why can't Formless Strikes just do all types of damage?
That's true.
Just let it do all types of damage. Who fucking cares? Just
Mhm.
let Monk hit the mob. Like, I don't
I
think
mean, I guess that like Monk like becomes like this universal DD then at that point
right.
where you're just constant like Odyssey just becomes monks.
That's fine.
Like
That's fine. Because Warrior is
yeah.
the universal DD right now.
Yeah,
What
that's
is the
true.
difference? Like
Yeah.
there's literally no difference because Warrior can do every single type of damage. Warrior like the fights that Warrior gets axed out of are is fucking Ongo. Like who cares
Yeah.
if Warrior can't do a
Right.
couple fights?
Ironically, ironically,
Right.
Warrior is the one DD you would bring to Ongo because of Tomahawk.
Exactly.
I I farmed my some Ongo clears using using warrior.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, I'd be
The
fine with
D50.
that. Yeah. Like Warrior can do probably more magic damage than any other melee DD right now. Like outside of like Red Mage. it can probably do more magic damage than like Dark Knight, Dragoon, the typical jobs that it's going to be compared to, right? So I'd be perfectly fine if Monk just got Formless Strikes, all damage types. Like it's not, I don't think that would break the
Yeah.
game.
Instead of making it breath damage, just give it like all damage types and yeah,
Right.
just whatever that means. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess that would be unaspected and have it apply to weapon skills.
Yeah, yeah, that's a big thing. Um, are there like any other glaring things from Monk? I think could hand-to-hand weapon skills use a rework? I'm not sure.
I don't think they're that bad. I
Okay.
think that they work a little bit differently.
Hmm.
Like y- Howling Fist, Tornado Kick in footwork, they can pretty frequently hit for cap damage. Like it's pretty crazy like how much damage. I think the problem with for whatever reason, I think because they're like multi-attack
Hmm.
favoring, the damage on them is like a lot more random than
Okay.
than on warrior, for example. Like I feel like when I disaster, I'm pretty confident that I'm going to do in a certain damage range. um uh, on monk it's like, oh, that one did 12k, that one did 99k, it's just like like
Yeah, yeah.
it's super random,
Because
but
it's all FTP replicating based off
yeah,
of
yeah,
the multi-attack, right? So yeah, that makes
yeah.
sense. Dang. So rework just give Monk a Savage Blade, like Vicerian said in chat. I think that's a great idea, honestly. But
I do like the idea that they reworked Monk in like 2019.
Mhm.
mhm.
It was one of the more
All their weapon
recently
skills.
reworked, yeah,
Yeah.
reworked jobs. They
2019, like
they
all the
changed
weapon skills get
boosts. Yeah.
adjusted. And boost, you're right.
Is that when they changed footwork too? Footwork used to be all kicks, but that might have been an older update.
When
Hmm.
you had footwork back in the day, it used to just you only kicked.
Yeah, you would switch into a kicking stance, and
But
not
now it
punch
just adds an
anymore.
additional
Yeah,
kick to your
yeah.
attack rounds.
Interesting. Hmm.
I kind of I kind of feel like footwork should just be all kicks, and like you kind of maybe they did a different kind of damage, and then they had a third one that did a different kind of damage.
Hmm.
Mm.
If you guys
The
don't have
problem,
anything to
yeah,
add to Monk, if you do, go ahead. But if
I think
not,
no,
Monk's jump
nothing.
abilities are really
Monks.
good, and I think Monk is slept on.
yeah.
Yeah, Monk is a fantastic job. The I love playing it, and like
Hmm.
the subtle blow aspects and Shijin and Chi Blast and how it works with itself is
Right.
amazing. It's just it can't be used in 66% of the content, maybe
Right.
75% of the content, because very few things are blunt focused.
Hmm.
I think that perspective isn't entirely true. It's just the fact that like you will still do good in content. Like I've seen monks do sortie. There's famously the guy on
Hmm.
the forums that does
Yeah.
2 monk Ammonon,
Yeah.
and it's fine.
Yeah.
It's just for like Odyssey and a lot of fights, like
Hmm.
doing 10% less damage just makes you the redheaded stepchild for no reason.
Right. Hmm. Yeah, I agree. I think Monk could use a little bit of love, but I do think it's
It doesn't
overall
need a lot.
in a good job, in a good
Is
spot.
that so? Does that clear all of our like A tier jobs, like
No,
everything that's like
I
good and
no,
needs minor
no,
adjustment?
no.
Okay.
What would you guys change about Geomancer?
Oh, okay, Geo.
Oh yeah.
I think Cardinal Chant needs to be fixed
Hmm.
because I don't think it
Where
really does
Honestly,
much.
yeah. I
directional
was
thing
gonna
is that what you're
say,
talking about?
Yeah, yeah.
I was gonna say honestly, I do not know what most of Geomancer's job abilities do.
I thought is Cardinal Chan a job ability? I thought it was a trait.
Cardinal Chant is a trait. Yes.
Okay. So Hegmo Cardinal Chant is based on where you were facing versus the mob on
Yeah,
the compass, the cardinal
right.
direction.
Yeah. And
You get different buffs or debuffs.
Hmm.
someone can like feel free to like correct me on this if I'm wrong, but I don't think it offers enough of a boost in any like one direction that it really matters.
Yeah,
I would like for them to lean more into it, yeah.
Yeah. It'd be interesting if it did. Like give me an incentive to actually memorize which direction I want to be from the mob to increase my magic accuracy or something like that.
yeah.
To actually do magic damage, but like most of the time at this point in the game, Geo's doing more melee damage than magic damage.
Right. You're in there dropping Dogdas or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
There you go, Hegma.
But I I heard somebody when we brought this up. Well, actually, I'm gonna make a side note. Hash Brown made a really good point in chat. He said myth is never wrong, and
Mm.
I gotta say I've never heard somebody be so accurate before. But anyway, somebody said earlier that they'd like to remove the nerf on geomancy, and to be honest with you guys, I don't know about what you think about it, but I think the nerf was kind of necessary. Geomancy is kind of busted.
Yeah,
It's kind of
I
busted.
agree. I mean, I think that for to a degree, like it sucks to because you can feel it a lot of times, but at the same
Mhm.
time, like, was it too much? Don't think so. You know what I mean? Like, I think that it's still relatively potent. I think that it's more in line with your other buffing jobs.
Yeah. I mean, you can tell when the biggest nerf in the game is in Sheol Jail, right? 75%.
Hmm.
And you're still bringing Geomancer to those
Yeah,
fights. It's
exactly.
that
Right.
strong
Yeah.
that even with 25%, I
Yeah.
mean, obviously you're doing the buffs that buff the party, but it's still that strong that it's 87.5,
Yeah.
not
I
75.
think
What I
more
would
knowledgeable. Oh, go ahead.
Mhm.
I would just say on that note, like what I would love to see again, like I think if you weren't aware of that happening, it would be really easy to be confused about what the fuck is going on because there's nothing that tells you that's occurring. They just
Mhm.
Yes.
made that change and applied it.
So
I think
Yeah.
that
in
like
line with what I
that's
was
a
about to say.
yeah, they need to be a little bit more like have more visibility on like that occurring or things like that occurring where it's like this your damage is less because you have this debuff here
Mm.
when you enter Odyssey that says Geomancy's nerfed. Yeah.
I wouldn't even be transparent about it. I
Yeah.
would say Shraj or more knowledgeable people might correct me on this, but just nerf Geomancer. Like change change the
Change
spells,
it across the board.
Yeah.
Yeah.
change the spells across the board to be whatever percent less that makes it reasonable, and
Mhm.
then don't change any of the content. Leave the content the same so that no one is
Yeah.
confused.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. On the same note as like some of the job abilities and traits that Geo has that are super complicated and often missed. I think that the Geo specific nukes are something that I
The
never
jive.
see anybody cast.
They should be casting them, right? Oh no,
Yeah.
they're basically gospels centered around the
Yeah.
Geo, right?
Yeah, but they're focused on the caster.
Mhm.
So like it
Like Blue
kind
Mage.
of like I've used them like blue mage. You know, like when I go and cleave Fs and shadow dragons, I'll do geo nukes sometimes for
Let
fun.
me
But
correct myself. I said Ja, I meant Ra.
Yeah.
yeah.
They have uses. They might be more niche. Like Thundara 3 is a great TP generator for Ammonon, stuff like
Mm,
that. You and like if you're doing a mage strat, Geo can hammer out some really good magic damage. You're not gonna be using Raws and like a mage strat because it's too close to the monster, but you can
yeah.
definitely do some cool stuff with it.
I feel as though the Ra spells, to Hagmo's point, will
Mhm.
never be like if you do Thundara 3, it'll never be the Thunder 5 in damage. So then
Right.
what is the purpose of it?
TP
Yeah.
and
If it's strictly for a cultic human, that's kind of sad.
maybe. I mean, you could argue that impact 99% of the time is strictly for occult acumen.
I don't agree with that.
I
Mm.
do. So, I mean, impact has uses for sure. Like, don't get me wrong, but I think I see it used for TP more than I see it
If
used
we want to
for
talk
other
about
stuff.
black mage shit, like
Oh,
Comet, Meteor, and
oh
Death are all
God,
so much.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Somebody asked really quick, what's the difference between Thundara and Thundaga? So Thundaga, when you cast it, you target the Apollyon demon that's in front of you, and you cast Thundaga, and around the demon, a circle is drawn, and that's where the damage is taken.
Right.
Thundara, the Geomancer casts it, and emanating from the Geomancer, a
Mhm.
circle is drawn that does the damage.
The Ra spells work functionally identically to Blue Mage nukes, in
Yeah.
that the caster is the target of the spell.
Mhm. Mhm.
Strangely.
Um, yeah, but I mean, the raw spells are pretty strong, and I think
Don't they? Yeah. Isn't there a mechanic, or am I thinking of something else from another game where like it's based on the number of targets hit, the damage changes with raw spells, or is that something else?
I've never heard that before.
Maybe I made that up because it would have been cool.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. I think my biggest issue with the raw spells is that they burn through your MP really fast. So it's
They're very
like
expensive.
they can do a lot of they can do like a surprising amount of damage. But it's not like you can use them as like an impromptu blue mage to
Mm.
do like like cleaving and stuff like that. That would be dope. But I don't know. Other than that, like I don't know. Are there any other geo stuff that you guys would change? Are you guys ready to move on to the next one?
Their
I
one
mean,
pulse that
yeah.
I think it's concentric pulse that does damage to enemies is kind of
Mhm.
pointless.
Yeah.
Unless an enemy uses it and then like it explodes and kills you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. If the Limbus NM uses it, then you're fucked. But if you use it, then
Yeah.
it'll do like 5 damage.
Well, and they also have 3 bubbles out for some reason.
Oh, right, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. So let's see. If we're going down the list of popularity, behind we've already talked about
Sword
Dragoon
TP
and
bubble. That'd be
Sam.
sweet.
What about Ranger?
Ooh,
Rangers
Ranger. Yeah.
is where do you guys think Ranger is at in terms of popularity? I don't think it's
Low.
popular.
I think it's again kind of like Blue Mage in that it's
Mhm.
a beloved job by many people, but the core concept of it is flawed and doesn't work in the meta.
Mm. Okay.
Ranger does not generate TP fast enough to compete with like people who are swinging on the mob
Mhm. The
due
fact that
to
range
range
attacks
animation.
require a different animation and a command input to be used, it just like makes it very difficult.
Not only that, hover shot adds an additional
Yeah,
delay.
exactly. Yeah, yeah.
And hover shot is so good as a job ability that you're mandated to use it.
Mhm.
Yeah. I
I think
I mean,
Ranger's biggest issue currently is that its job abilities all take each other's slot.
how do you mean?
Uh, hover shot takes the same exact slot as decoy shot, which means
Right. Okay.
you
oh, you
can't
can't
like
do both, right?
cast your enmity onto the tank or like it's kind of like a fake trick attack.
Right.
But in long prolonged fights where you actually want a ranger because of dangerous AoEs,
Mhm.
Mhm.
you can't avoid pulling hate without using the relic weapon.
Okay.
For like Arabati, for example, Ranger should be using a relic instead of a prime because the prime does too much damage.
Yeah.
That's kind of counterintuitive.
It
Yeah.
does too much damage, you don't have any way to, like, shed it, especially in something
Correct.
like Odyssey, yeah.
So
Mhm.
my biggest issue with Ranger currently is that they don't have a super jump equivalent, and I think
Yeah.
decoy shot would be great, but you can't use it because you're using hover shot, which is
Right.
stupid.
Right.
Um
Another one is unlimited shot takes the same slot as double shot, so you
mhm.
can't use unlimited shot to like use a weapon skill arrow. You just have to hope you recycle it.
Mm.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think, Ranger is, like, very fundamentally, like, at odds with itself, where it wants to be a damage dealer. They intentionally slow it down because it's safe, but then at the same time, like, I don't know, there's so many, like they try to make it do too many things and then try to stop it from doing too many things, as a result.
Mhm.
Um, and so it kinda is in a tough spot, and one thing that I really before we move too far from it, Hovershot, I think Hovershot was a really cool addition, and honestly, like, Ranger received one of the most recent updates. Um, I do not understand why Hovershot is an ability used on the target instead of just a buff that you stack on yourself.
That'd be cool.
Oh, like if you shoot a different target, it falls off.
Yeah, like, yeah, you like, you can't even build like, if you wanted to be Ranger and Sortie, you'll never have a built up hover shot on Gartel
Mhm.
because you have to build it up on Gartel, and there's no way you'll ever do that. Versus if you could like build it up throughout the run, and as you're going through the run, you're building potency and you're stronger by the end, that'd be fine. Or
Maybe
build
they
up
thought that
on
would be
on
too
trash
strong.
mobs or something.
I
Mhm.
don't know.
But yeah, every time you change targets, your hover shot resets. Is my understanding.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
correct.
Yeah.
Which
You can
is a
even
real
change
bummer.
weapons without the stacks falling off, but you cannot shoot a different target.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't
That is
know.
definitely a pain point.
I don't okay, hear me out. I don't think Ranger does enough damage, except when it
Hmm.
does enough damage and it can't control the enemy, like Dexter said. Like
Yeah.
it's either one or the other. Then there's like very unless you are like doing just for funsies like Kraken Club stuff.
Yeah.
I don't feel like there's any in between.
I think Ranger suffers from the same thing, and we haven't talked about yet, but suffers from the same thing that Black Mage does,
Hmm.
in that like its core concept as this like distance safe job that did more damage and used distance as its safety instead of like building defenses and everything else, lost its identity
Hmm.
when everybody else started doing cap damage.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
Right.
when Ranger was dishing out crazy sidewinders, and doing barrage hits that were just ridiculously stacked up,
Hmm.
like it had a identity. But now that it's limited at the same cap that everybody is hitting, it doesn't have the same advantage.
Right. And now
Except
like
barrage
the
can break that cap, which is kind of cool.
it can, but it's like without hover shot, you're not even going to get anywhere
Yeah,
near to
right.
cap damage anyway. Do you think ranged weapon skills, like in general, need an overhaul?
I mean, I don't even know if that would. Yeah, yes, because you're looking like look at archery,
Hmm.
for example. None of those weapon skills are usable except for the prime one. Yeah, like so. Yes, they do need an overhaul, but at the same time, like, would would ranger weapon skills doing more damage fix the problem that a warrior is in the fight building TP 4 times faster and also doing cap damage?
Yeah. Well, I mean that's like the starting of it, right? Is
Yeah.
the weapon skill overhaul. Outside of that, I'm thinking, God, I don't even know. Make double shot a stance. That's the only thing that I could think of to make.
Yeah.
So it's up full time.
But I feel like that would be broken. But at the
That'd
same
be a little broken.
time, I think so too. But at the same time, it's like how else do you
Maybe it would.
match the TP gain of a melee? Because I
I
don't
do
know.
think it has to be a job ability.
Okay,
Because Ranger can run up and melee with people, and it can do
sure.
it
Yeah.
fine. The ranged weapon skills being a little bit weaker than others, you know, you meleeing for TP as fast as the other melee, your weapon skill is going to be weaker.
But speaking to
Yeah.
job identity, do you really want Rangers like
No, I don't
fundamental
want them to do
TP?
anything.
Right.
Right.
And
I mean,
realistically, way back in the day, they changed it and they added the distance change thing so
right.
that you needed to be at
Pummeling
a specific
strikes and
range.
stuff. Yeah.
They did that because Ranger was using double Hawker's knives and meleeing up
Yeah.
front on the mob and doing
Hmm.
max damage weapon skills and beating everybody by a lot.
Right. So to counteract that, like making it safe to, or making it a ranger able to generate CP from ranged makes sense, doesn't it?
I
Yeah.
think the core of Ranger's idea of
Hmm.
be at the correct distance and true shot and dead aim and all that, like your hits do so much white damage because they're critting and their p-diff modifier is like double any other job
Hmm.
and all this shit if you're in the specific zone
Yeah.
is really
Yeah.
good because you're TPing slower, your weapon skilling slower, but you're making up for it with like weapon skill damage critical attacks.
Hmm.
The problem is the distance currently isn't good because mobs have evolved to do like 25 yalm AoEs that fuck over players.
Well,
Right.
it's good
So
for archery. Archery's true shot
it's not
range is
good enough.
fantastic.
It's not good enough.
Yeah, archery's range is farther than
Yeah.
the guns, but it's still not far enough.
I
Because
was going to say to fix Ranger, one of the main things that would have to change is to widen the range of the distance.
yeah,
Mm.
So I'm not saying to make it closer. You could make it even further. Like just
right,
add a larger radius of that range. So
yeah,
if gun is 10 to 13, it should be like 12 to 17.
hmm,
Mm.
You know what I mean? And then bow could be even further. Bow could be like 16 to 25, and you're still getting true shot. That'd be awesome.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Hmm. Yeah,
I honestly think too that like Ranger again, like, and this would just break too much, so I don't think it would ever happen, and I don't
mhm,
think it's a realistic suggestion. But like, one thing that I feel like would fix Ranger to a big degree would be to make their like almost like a footwork or something like that, where like
mhm,
you go into maybe it's changing hover shot fundamentally. You pop hover shot and you can no longer auto attack, but your auto attacks are ranged attacks, and if you perform them in the true shot range, you build hover stack shots or something like that.
hmm. Yeah,
But
Samurai
like I
Villain
think
in
the
chat
fact that you have
said,
to hit a button every single time, like to build your TP,
it is
well
really annoying.
moving and dancing is cumbersome.
Samurai
yeah.
Villain in chat said, "Make everything a stance," and, like, I wouldn't hate that, like, I think every job should have a stance button.
That'd
I
be
feel
I
like
don't
that's
think
been
that'd
our
be terrible.
recommendation on everything though. It's like, what if there was a stance for that?
interesting.
Well, it's frustrating, right? Because, like, the jobs that are really strong tend to have one that is really, like, impactful, like composure,
Yeah,
Yeah.
and not every job even gets that opportunity.
yeah, it's true. Is there anything else you guys want to add for Ranger?
Eagle Eye Shot should do damage cap,
Oh
period.
yeah.
Oh yeah,
Eagle Eye
I think
Shot. It's
I,
such a. I know that you can like spec for Eagle Eye Shot to do
Oh,
damage,
my
but
Eagle Eye
in
Shots do
general,
great
yeah,
damage, like
yeah.
70K, but, like, I'm
mhm.
saying it should just do much more than that, or it should break damage cap.
So, question. So, I know people when they talk about Black Mage, they always talk about being able to break the damage cap, right?
Hmm.
Because Black Mage's thing is big damage, blah 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 blah. Could Ranger do the same thing? Like
I think that
still
would be cool.
TP slower, but just drop
Yeah,
off 200k weapon skills
sure,
instead of like
sure.
similarly to the
Yeah.
Black Mage like theory?
I- I've
I
always
have a new
kind of
critique.
considered Ranger to be the physical black mage in a way. So
That's
like
very
I
Right.
true.
I think that's a cool idea.
Yeah.
I have a new critique that I just realized I have
What's
that I
that?
didn't think of.
Mhm,
Um, 75 Ranger, you used gun for some fights because of its raw damage. You
mhm.
used archery. Most people, like, laughed at archery, but archery still was good. It
Still
just had
for
a
15
larger
years.
distance. Um, and then most people used crossbows because they
Hmm.
had
Or
utility. You
bolts.
could use
Right,
bolts
right.
that gave
Yeah.
defense down or
Mhm,
healed you or did magic damage.
right.
And when do you use a crossbow now? When you use
Yeah.
Gastrophates
Yeah.
specifically because of its weapon skill and no other
Yeah.
reason at all. So the utility of bolts
Mhm.
or the utility of additional effect ammunition in general
Mhm.
is gone from the job.
Yeah.
I would like ammunition that had additional effects. I
Mhm.
don't care if it has to be Rima ammunition. I don't care. Just put it back in the game, like, make it something reasonable.
Yeah.
If Rangers I don't wanna make one Rima better than the other, but if, like, one of the Rimas gave defense down on its arrow, that would
Mhm.
make Ranger a lot more, like,
That'd be pretty dope, yeah.
Fuck it. I have a
desirable for
cooler
a
idea
party.
that's never gonna happen.
What is it?
Make it like a um make it like a puppet master automaton maneuver.
Mhm.
So you do like acid dip. You have like a ability called dip, and then you pick like acid or fire or sleep
Oh,
or
does this
whatever.
be like,
And so
Monster Hunter where you can choose the
yeah.
tips of the arrows
Yeah.
and stuff like that? Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
you just
That's the
like
tip.
dip your arrow and you
Mhm,
can do a defense down, and it's
mhm,
just like a little modifier. So you don't have to carry 40 different bolts. You just
mhm.
have it as part of your kit.
Hear me
And
My
it
out.
Ranger
also
was a
becomes
hillbilly and he does dip.
unique to Ranger. Yeah.
Yeah, but if you did make them carry like 40 different bolts, you'd be reminiscing about the 75 eras when we
Yeah,
couldn't
true.
stack quivers and stuff like that. So,
I do think one of the best things about the Rimas in modern Final Fantasy is that,
mhm.
you don't have to ever worry about ammo as a Ranger anymore. It's all
Yeah,
free.
yeah, it's very
That
true.
was a pain point
Yeah.
of the job.
Mhm.
Xscape
However,
makes a good point though. You make it a dip, but then you make it like a ninja tool where you have to have the dips.
Like 30
yeah,
different
like,
ones. Yeah.
I think oversimplifying it by making these ammos free to have and you just, like, consume them every hour and you have stacks on stacks on stacks, you never have to worry about buying ammo. That's nice, but it took away the complexity of like
Yeah.
wanting a certain ammo for a certain thing.
Right.
And I think there's a middle ground to be met there that they just haven't tried.
Hmm.
Like if you're a ranger, you could go maybe not gastrophates, but like say there's a bullet and you want to wildfire or hot shot it to death,
Hmm.
and one of your bullets could give magic defense down. You could apply that periodically for your mages in your party. That would be
Yeah.
great. Ranger
Yeah.
used to be good in the sortie mage comp, where you would do light
Hmm.
skill chains
Hmm.
for the to extend for the scholar and the black mage.
Right.
Stuff like that. Defense down while fighting a mob. Maybe you're in a comp that doesn't have a dragoon to Angon or
Hmm.
yada yada. Those things are just nice to have in your kit to provide utility for your party so that you're more desirable. Because right now,
Ooh,
Ranger
damn.
doesn't do anything for the party at
An
all. It
erase
just does
bolt.
raw damage.
So
Sure.
so
Hmm.
speaking of doing nothing for the party, let's talk about a job that does everything for the party.
Okay.
And and
And does it poorly.
this is dancer. What do you
Oh, okay.
guys
Ooh.
what do you guys think about the state of dancer?
I think Dancer has too many actions that prevent it from like just going raw balls to the wall DPS.
Yeah. I
Um,
think yeah, I agree with
and
that.
the problem with that is like in fights where you don't need to engage, it becomes the god because you could just
Yeah.
generate TP by standing there and doing job abilities. But in fights where you want to like wail on it, you're just putting too much downtime on yourself by doing these JAs that you need to enfeeble the mob or to give yourself steps, and then you just
Yeah.
fall behind of everybody.
I think when Dancer was implemented, Wings of the Goddess came out, the attacks, the speed of the game at the time made sense for it to have all these job abilities that you essentially would like auto attack, step. You know, like you had time to do that. But at the current, like everybody is expected to be haste capped all the time. Like there's no way to utilize its kit properly unless you're doing an Amazon or something like that.
Yeah, that makes sense. Um I dude, I've always wanted dancer to be cool.
Yeah.
Like I think the first time I really thought about dancer in the modern era is when Rua was talking about how much cool stuff it can do in like Dynamis. And I don't know, like I've never been able to get it to fit seamlessly into something outside of sorting. But
Yeah.
I think condensing some of the stuff would be helpful. Like you were saying, all the steps and stuff, I think those could be condensed without really hurting the job. Like just make it one step lower evasion and attack and critical hit evasion or
Give them
whatever.
give them honor step. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, honor step. That's perfect. I love that. Um yeah, no, I think that's a fantastic idea. I don't know what else I would change about Dancer though. Because I think they're really, really strong. I think
Yeah.
the amount of damage they can dish out is absolutely nuts in a lot of ways.
Do you think do you think Dancer needs like do you think waltzes need to be changed in any way? Like Dancer is like a
Mm,
support healer or anything like that? Like, or do you think that's just because I think right now they're used as emergency heals, you know, like and that's it. Um, like, is there a reality where Dancer could be the healer for the party, or is that never gonna happen?
I like from my perspective, I think waltzes take too much TP. Like that's I'm sure that's arguable.
Hmm.
Um, but like if a dancer is trying to DD, it's a big chunk of their TP that is getting sucked off while you're also adding the job ability delay. So I don't
Yeah.
really like that idea. Um, though a dancer could like absolutely heal. There's nothing stopping it from doing that. It's a super strong job. But yeah, no. I think
I like
sambas
Dancer
need
is
to
just thief
be
plus one.
what's up?
Dancer is just thief plus one.
What? Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Samba
in the
duration
way that it
is what I
works,
want.
yeah, Dancer is just a thief that has a kit that works.
Yeah. No, I want samba duration increase. That's my biggest thing about Dancer. Is the
Mm,
sambas don't last long enough. I
yeah.
think
Having to reapply them, yeah.
yeah, I think
Just
honor
make it a
step should be
60-minute
a
thing.
thing. Um, I think if you really wanted to break it just for the lulls, climactic should be a stance. If we're trying to keep in theme with adding stances to every job,
Oh,
just add a
so that job should get sneak attack at all times,
yeah,
and then
yeah.
thief.
Just make it full time. Just make it full time. Delete thief out of the game, and dancer will just be catapulted into the strongest DD position. How about that?
I
I
think
hope that we
climactic.
get through.
Hmm?
Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you go.
I think climactic flourish is just too powerful, and that
Yeah.
it
It is. It
nullifies
is.
the other flourishes.
Yeah. No,
They're
I
And I
don't think
well, I
that's
think
actually a real good
yeah,
solution.
I think that climactic flourish could be reduced in potency
Mhm.
in conjunction with more dagger weapon skills doing actual damage without it. You know what I mean? Like if you didn't have to rely on climactic to hit really high damage hits with dancer, I think it'd be fine for it to be reduced a little bit.
I
Mhm.
think it'd be nice if like you built these steps up, and then you hit a button for like flourish 3,
Yeah.
and it did an animation, and then you got the ability to use all 3 once.
Okay.
Mm.
I just want you guys to know that I just missed disaster on an Abyssium mob, and I
What a
want to kill
Oh
my. I
loser.
shit.
want to. I actually want to kill myself right now. But
Drop it. Drop the
as an
weapon.
aside, yeah, I might. I
Yeah.
might at this point. Uh, but I don't know. Like Dancer could probably use some things to make it more universal. But
Yeah.
I think the minimal stuff that we've mentioned already would
Yeah.
probably do a lot of
I
that.
think it also maybe less so just because, it's not quite as impactful piercing, but it
Hmm.
it is similar to monk in that it's like really relegated to one particular damage type.
Hmm.
Um and you don't have
Hey,
a good
man.
slashing option,
Onion
etc.
Sword 3 is
I knew,
really strong.
I knew that was coming. I knew that was coming. I'm still trying to do a Kalunga with a dancer instead of the blue mage within
Hell yeah.
Onion Sword 3, but I'll get there someday. Let's see, what other jobs do we want to discuss? We have we talked
I
about
do
Go ahead.
I do really hope that we commit to the bit and like we get all the way to the end of the
Hmm.
podcast and half the audience here is just waiting for us to say something about thief and we
And
Oh,
just
we
go,
don't
just
yeah,
say
yeah,
anything.
delete thief and then just
and
end the
then just
episode.
leave. Yeah, we could. I think that's quite a possibility because
Yeah.
this has already gone on way longer than I expected it
Yeah.
to.
Well,
Well, I
I
don't
was
know how
Honestly.
you
thinking
thought to go through 22 jobs in a reasonable time
we're
frame,
gonna wait till the
but
end for Thief or
yeah,
Ninja.
Well,
yeah,
I also didn't expect to talk about the jobs at the high end as much as
yeah,
we have. But I forgot that you two are like the best
yeah. We
yappers
got to go
around.
through
So
everything.
let's talk about Black
You
Mage.
open Pandora's box, I'm gonna fucking
Yeah.
talk, dude.
Yeah, we already talked about the black mage of physical damage, which is ranger. So let's talk about the black mage of black
Yeah.
mage damage, which is black mage.
Hmm. I think core problem with Black Mage is that its entire concept is built around something that isn't used in the game 90% of the time anymore. And
Yeah.
that's like this skill chain, magic burst, window, waiting, all this other stuff.
Hmm.
When you can Zerg for cap damage with a physical damage dealer doing a weapon skill every 6 seconds
Hmm.
for 99,999 damage. Why would you slow down to allow a black mage to maybe do that? You know what I mean? Like
Mm.
there's no incentive to work in that system. So the only time it gets used is magic strats.
From the bleachers, Shiraj says, I like the black mage damage of black mage, which initiates the concept of black mage doing damage of a black mage.
I don't. I'm having a hard time finding a single flaw in his argument,
Yeah,
to be honest.
true. True, true, true. So I think that
Um,
like one fix to that is just like what we talked about with Ranger and what you alluded to is that like give black mages a trait that breaks the damage cap. So when you do you magic burst a skill chain that was originated from damage dealers or whatever, it can do because like I don't even have a good black mage and I've done 99,999 damage magic bursts in Limbus. So like they can hit for 200,000 damage, but I think that if that were enabled, it would incentivize people to slow down a Zerg and accommodate a Black Mage.
Hmm.
I think I've said this a lot, and I believe I talked about it during the job evaluation tier list bullshit. But Black Mage, like when I think of this whole this conversation, what is useless about Black Mage? What is never used? Uh, Magic Crit is garbage.
Mm,
Magic Crit
yeah.
is
Hmm.
a trait unique to Black Mage. It's on gear, and it's pointless. No one uses it. It doesn't do anything substantial.
Right.
It should get overhauled completely. Make Black Mage the nuker that crits. Make the crits do make
What if
make the
that was
crits break the
enabled
damage
by a
stat.
stance?
I enter
God
mana
damn
mode.
it.
Now my crit goes up to 100.
Oh no.
My
No.
my spells cost twice as much, and I crit every time.
Yeah, the Serototathlum, from my understanding, is actually quite good, as Shirash said in chat. But it's not enough, right? It's not enough.
Rototathum, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I only really see that be used for red mage for end spell
Um,
because the chance proc of it is so low that you only really get a benefit when you're applying damage so often, such as end spelling, that it matters.
yeah,
Mm,
I think it goes like the Tathlum gets better by the amount of damage, or like by the amount of attacks that you do, for sure. But if you like have enough attacks, there is a point where the Tathlum becomes better than other options. But that's like a whole other like deep like rabbit hole that we could get into that I'm not prepared to right now.
mm,
That's like some Shiraj level information that I'll never be
yeah.
prepared to just like
Oh,
rattle off the
absolutely.
cuff. So I apologize for that.
I just
Um,
think like that's an aspect of the job that is not ever thought about, and
mhm,
I think that stat in the game in general is underutilized
right.
because it's not good enough.
So I have a hot take about Black Mage, and that hot take is 90% of the utility stuff that Black Mage has to offer is not utilized, because it's mostly just not necessary, but it can be really cool and applied well when it is used.
Mm.
So things
Like
like
what? What's an example of that?
mana wall, crowd
Okay.
control, AoE stuff. Black Mage has a ton of options. I think melee Black Mage is really slept on. Cataclysm and
Yeah.
Earth Crusher, super strong. You can pull giant groups of mobs and practically be invincible. It takes less damage than any other job in the
Yeah.
game for the
With
time the mana
like
wall is up.
albumin, tank albumin ads on Black Mage
Right,
with mana wall and stuff like
right.
that.
Well,
Yeah.
how do you make Black Mage melee more desirable?
I don't know. I think in terms of group content, you have to make stuff less punishing when mana wall is not available. And
What
you
if
need better like TP gear and stuff. What's up?
Comet did
Mhm.
defense down and Meteor did tomahawk?
That'd be pretty dope. Hmm.
Because the Jaw spells already add cumulative damage boost to that same element. So
Right.
they kind of have a defense down for magic in that
Hmm.
sense, or rather a buff.
Right.
Black Mage doesn't have the utility to enhance melees in any way. So
Hmm.
they could lean into that slightly. I think Meteor and Comet are very useless spells outside of like rare dark bursting. And when you're dark bursting, typically it's death anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I think
Could probably get
death.
overhauled
I
while
think
we're at it.
yeah. I think death could be reworked. I think it kind of got left by the wayside. I don't like the fact that it takes all of your MP. I think it was cool back in the day, but I think it's kind of outgrown that like niche use that it was used for. I don't know. Black Mage needs a lot of work. I like where you're going, where the spells can contribute to the group by debuffing mobs more than it can right now.
Well, like Impact is very popular, right? Because
Hmm.
of that effect.
Right.
Mostly for like nuking because it lowers the int and that's very popular, but
Hmm.
like
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Other spells
Lowering
should do similar
intiers.
effect.
Yeah. Um, I think Black Mage could use access to like more of its weapon skills that it's dependent on sub jobs for. Like it can't get Cataclysm without like a white mage sub or something like that, which is
Mm,
That
super
doesn't make
funky.
sense.
Yeah, it's really annoying because black mage is like the staff job, right? Out of every job,
I
you'd
get
think
it.
black mage is the staff job, but
Yeah,
I show up to like Dyna on sub white mage or sub warrior, like just to get Cataclysm.
that's dumb.
Yeah, it's goofy.
mm.
You guys got anything else you want to talk about for black mage, or do you move on to the next one?
Oh no, I think we could probably move on. I mean, I do think that like having some sort of I think in Final Fantasy 14 they have an ability where you put a circle down on the ground, and as
Mm,
long as you stay in that circle on Black Mage, which like
mm,
the movement requirements in 14 are different, so it kind of changes the thing. But something like that could be cool, where it's like you're channeling your spells within that area, so it
yeah.
enhances them.
I think Black
Um,
Mage should get larger and larger amounts of occultic human than it
Mm,
already has. Like it should be a job that is extremely reliant on occultic human
mm.
in order to manipulate Cascade more often.
That'd be cool.
mm,
That'd be cool. I feel like Cascade is not really
Cascade is just not used. Like I'm
yeah,
looking at job abilities that just don't get used.
yeah,
There you go.
yeah. I agree with that.
They could even get conserved TP with their conserve MP. And
Hmm.
like, Black Mage very often keeps its MP from occultic human in order to give itself Merker to get its MP back. But like,
Right.
what if it was more flexible and it could just run up and slap something with a fat weapon skill,
mm,
or it could cascade it into bigger damage nukes.
Hmm.
Having a larger TP pool to play with gives it more resource to play the game.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
I
If
don't like
we're
the concept of mages switching their weapons all the time for a boost,
yeah.
mm, yeah,
fundamentally. And I think that like leaning into a TP like resource management game with Black Mage would fix that. Sorry to
right.
cut you off.
No, 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 you're good. You're good. I was just gonna start transitioning to the next one. If but yeah, no, I agree with
Black
everything you were
Mage
saying for Black Mage.
ranged weapon skills for Black Mage.
Yeah, like
Like throw the
there
staff. Yeah.
there
Yeah,
is
or
one
like
that does that, but they should
shoot
make a
little
lot of them
laser
do
beams
that.
out of it.
Ooh, that'd be
Yeah.
cool.
It doesn't
Well, there's
Shantoto have something like that?
Yeah.
that
Like
one
with a scythe?
campaign staff weapon skill that is like Gates of Tartarus, but
Hmm.
Yeah.
AoE and puts everything to sleep and it's ranged. Stuff like that would be really cool.
Mm-hmm. That'd be dope. I wish the Black Mage like mythic. Oh, I guess not the mythic. The mythic's good, but like the relic did a little bit more.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
I wish there were like more unique stuff that the Rima for Black Mage gave it, other than just like damage. Um, but yeah, I don't know.
So here's the perfect example.
Hmm.
All the staff weapon skills have potent debuffs. Gates of Tartarus lowers attack. Garland of Bliss lowers defense. Omniscience lowers magic attack.
Hmm.
Vito Huner lowers magic defense. All of these things, when the job generates next to no TP, and when it does, it uses it to get MP back.
Right.
It should just generate more
Yeah.
TP in general. Or if you want to go the other route, take all these stupid debuffs and apply them to a spell.
Hmm.
And
There you go.
the campaign weapon skill that's AoE that sleeps everything is Tartarus Torpor. I forgot what it was called.
Mm. Okay. So moving into the jobs that are more obscure and even less seen than Black Mage, and I'll be honest with you, some of these jobs I've never even heard of before. Uh, but if we stick with the mages, what do you guys think about Summoner?
Oh, how
Summoner
dare you?
is such a fan favorite.
It is,
Everybody
yeah.
wants to be a summoner. It's
Oh,
it's one of
absolutely.
those there's a short list of jobs that when somebody on Reddit
Hmm.
or, comes into Twitch chat or whatever, and they're always it's it's almost like it's a script. It's kind of freaky. They're like, "Hey guys, I love Final Fantasy 11. I haven't played it in 20 years.
Mhm.
I cannot wait to get back and play this game. It's one of my childhood favorites. I would really like to play Summoner, Thief, or
Ooh,
Blue Mage." And
ooh.
you're like, "Oh
Or
man."
Pup, because I feel like Pup is
Yeah.
in the slot more than
We've
Blue
got news
Yeah.
Mage.
for
But
you,
yeah,
buddy.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah.
Summoner, Thief, or Puppet Master, and you're just like, "Oh, man, okay. What if you didn't have access to any of those jobs? Would you still be excited about the game?" Uh,
Yeah. I think Summoner
I
should
think,
be reworked completely as like a
yeah,
different style of job than what it is right
yeah,
now.
mhm. I don't know, like, it's so hard. I think all the pet jobs suffer from one so I have one proposal
Mhm.
that, like, I think would fix a lot of the problems. Dragoon's the only job that, like, is technically a pet-based job,
Mhm.
but it operates in a way that makes sense. The rest of the jobs, Puppet Master, Beastmaster, and Summoner, I think one of their core problems is that your pet becomes half of you,
Right.
or more, depending on how you have to gear, like itemize to make them do a particular role.
Mhm.
And as a result, like you you become like the player character becomes an accessory to the pet, but the pets don't scale into end game properly. Like
Right.
they'll never do the damage. You'll never see an automaton, outside of maybe a magic burst or something like that,
Mhm.
or a beastmaster pet or a summer pet, like doing cap damage every 3 seconds. Yeah, like
Right. Right.
it's not gonna happen. And so like I don't know. So one proposal that I have as a blanket thing for pets is that they need to do what every modern pet job MMO has done at this point and take away pet stats. Like
Mhm.
no more pet stats, just make it scale off the the character's stats.
That'd be
I
cool.
think would solve a huge amount of problems.
Mhm.
It would require a ton of work, but it would solve a lot of problems.
Right.
I think the best pet job in the game is Geomancer, by the way.
Not
Yeah,
Dragoon?
it does technically a pet, but
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Um, I think, as far as Summoner goes, Ruamoko, bless his soul, before he quit the game, he put out a really, really good, like, wish list for Summoner.
mm,
What were some of the stuff on that?
So his wish list, was to lean Summoner more into its buffing aspect,
Mhm.
which I think in the current iteration of Summoner is its most popular use.
Mhm.
Um, the conduit burning of Days of Old for, like, Aeonic clears,
Mhm.
that's not even done anymore. It's just been outdated. It's
Right.
been power crap.
Yeah, I agree.
Um, when Conduit and Astral Flow are good, they're too powerful. So I think they need to be overhauled and changed.
Mhm.
Like, nerf them, but make them more usable, like, make them last longer, make their effect more potent, but,
Mhm.
like, not just spit out billions of damage for free. Um,
Okay.
in his video, he said that Odin and Alexander shouldn't be tied to Astral Flow, and they should get
mm,
their own, uh, avatar favor.
Mhm.
yeah.
Um, that way you can give them one of them can be melee focused and one of them can be mage focused. The melee focused one he suggested was Odin should get a store TP favor, so it
Mhm.
can kind of compete with Corsair's slot, where it can be like
Mm.
a red mage that gives everyone Haska, and then it gives, Warcry and TP bonus from Shiva, and then it leaves Odin out, and Odin will just sit there and give everyone a store TP boost while he's out, and you
Right.
can use him to like melee with.
Mhm.
Alexander could be either defensive focused or like magic defense down focused, while also
Doesn't
boosting your
wait,
defensive.
isn't there a store TP favor already, or did I make
No,
that up?
there is not.
No?
There's a
Hmm.
TP bonus favor, isn't there?
Ah.
No, that's a TP bonus
Or is
ability
that
from.
Oh,
Hmm.
okay. Yeah.
The favors, I'll tell you right now, are
There's like double attack.
Mhm.
regen from Carbuncle, MDB from Kate Sith, double attack from Ifrit, magic attack bonus from Shiva, subtle blow 2 from Siren,
Mhm.
Mm.
evasion from Garuda, defense from Titan, crit rate from Rama, magic accuracy from Leviathan, magic evasion from Fenrir, refresh from the bolus.
No.
There's no regain favor. Maybe that could be added. There's
Mhm.
no store TP favor. There's no triple attack favor, but that would kind of
Yeah.
obsolete Ifrit.
Yeah.
Um, there's a few favors that could be added, just theoretically, like
Yeah.
Mhm.
without thinking about it.
Yeah,
So
I will say so. Just real quick, like as a summoner note,
mhm.
I summoner has always been like the meme of my channel to the degree that I was like, I'm never going to play this job. Like,
But now you have it mastered.
yeah. And so I was at one point challenged to do that. I
Mhm.
mastered it, and
Right.
I will say that through that process, um, I have not played Summoner since, but while I was playing it, I was like, I'm gonna reforge everything. I'm gonna make
Yeah.
Summoner's cool.
Yeah. It's
I was
it's
like
a super
actually
cool
shocked
job.
by some of the utility and like I didn't really understand how some of the favors worked
Mhm.
and like doing it. I was like, this could be actually cool and viable, but I
Mhm.
think it is just missing like some potency or a few like spells or abilities that could just turn it into something that's actually useful.
Right.
Absolutely.
I think Summoner should be interchangeable with Bard. I think
Oh yeah,
um
that'd be awesome.
I think Summoner and Bard should be able to take the same job or the same place in a party. And Bard can do some really good damage, right? I think Summoner
Mhm.
should be able to do that exact same damage as Bard does, but the difference is now instead of doing it with Savage Blade, you're doing it with your pets.
Yeah.
I agree with you, but swap Bard with Corsair.
Oh, okay.
Bard
Maybe.
is
Yeah,
too
yeah.
powerful for melee.
Yeah.
It adds way too much to the melee to with 5 songs
Yeah.
Yeah.
to add that many buffs into the game to, like, subvert or, like, to add potency of buffs, right? Like, if you only had 2 avatar shits or 3 avatar shits
Mhm.
and, they did so much that it was equivalent to a bard, I think that would be too much.
So I have a
Yeah.
specific reason that I say Bard and not Corsair, and that's strictly the
You
amount of
don't want to make
people.
a bard.
Well, that's no, that's part of it though. Is because the amount of people that play Bard versus Corsair is so tilted. We don't
Mm,
need a Corsair rep. We do need somebody that can take the place of Bard for groups who
sure.
literally
Yeah.
don't have access to Bards. Because that's one of the hardest jobs to find
Yeah.
in almost any content, and it's almost necessary for so much content.
Yeah, I mean, I think that when you look at Bard, like there are a few levels to its potency in that,
Mhm.
like, I do see what Dex is saying, where like core summoner, if you could put up two favors, for example, say you could put up two favors and they last for 10 minutes, right?
Mhm.
You essentially become a corsair, like
Yeah.
where you're putting up two big buffs and
Mhm.
like it's very comparable to that. But I think that like if you were to make comprehensive a lot of the changes that we've talked about to multiple jobs, like there's a few levels to Bard where I could see it making sense. Like Bard is, I think, first and foremost to a lot of people, it's a means to cap haste.
Right.
Right. That's like the first thing that Bard does is you want to cap haste. And so like if haste from other jobs like your dancer or from your summoner or from red mage was more readily available and there were more stacking things that like brought it to the haste cap,
Mhm.
um it could fill that first role relatively easily.
Well,
And
to your
then
point,
like
I think you're getting towards this is that I think all of Summoner's buffs should
mhm.
be unique in that they don't overwrite other jobs'
Yeah,
buffs.
Yeah.
So,
exactly,
like,
yeah, yeah,
Garuda's haste should be a little fucking wind symbol, not the
right.
pink haste symbol, and
And
that
Well,
so
way you
you
can
could
stack with
get
red
hear
mage.
me out. Hear
yeah.
me out. Give Garuda honor haste. Where where
Well,
So,
yeah, exactly.
I don't wanna
like
go
Yeah,
on a tangent, but the problem with Bard
yeah.
so your scenario is great in theory,
Mhm.
but now you have the problem of a bard plus a summoner and how power crept
yeah.
that is for some like, I don't want that world where you
Mm,
need to have a
okay.
bard and a summoner now.
Mhm.
Mm.
But I think the problem with bard
Yeah.
to this argument is that bard essentially has 7 songs. It gets its fucking 4 songs,
Yeah,
and then its 5th
Yeah.
song is Honor
3,
Mark,
yeah.
which is 3
Just
songs.
3 songs,
Sorry,
yeah.
Unicorn said make Garuda's haste to stance, and I'm dying. uh, oh no.
I just think Bard gets too many buffs, and to create another job that does the same degree of buffing
Yeah,
is too powerful.
hmm
But
Yeah, I
I
mean,
agree with
I
your
hmm.
conceptual idea.
Yeah, I think that in general, what I would like to see, and I know that this like creates like an issue where like you go into content with you're just basically doing the same thing, but you're adding in. So it's like, oh yeah,
Mhm.
we do this fight. We've got a summoner healer that's also as potent as a bard, and then we've got bard core, red mage, geo, and you know what I mean. Like
No
you
Right.
DDs
just
anymore.
become
Just
like
all the
everything's
fucking
buffs. Yeah,
all the supports have so much power
yeah,
crap from all
Mhm.
these
yeah,
buffs that they don't need DDs anymore, and they just do
yeah.
all the themselves.
But at the same time, like I think that what I envision for a lot of the jobs that are left out
Mhm.
is that like they have to compete with, replacing a bard or replacing a core or replacing a red
Absolutely.
mage. So like
Or
that's
yeah.
like we've talked about with ninja, etc. Like where if ninja were to be if you were to sit down and be like, let's build our party, do you want red mage because it can do off heals and debuffs and enfeebles, or do you want ninja because it can do physical damage, debuffs and enfeebles, and like the potency is the same. I'm jumping ahead, we'll talk about that in a second, but like I think that my vision for Summoner to a degree is the same, where like
Mhm.
it can fill this support role, and you can have a conversation about leaving out a Corsair or a Bard and bringing the Summoner, and it's just entirely viable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with that entirely. Notably from the Avatar favor list, there's no accuracy buff. That's a really big one.
Mm,
Mhm. Mhm.
I think what you were getting at earlier, which I don't know if Rua said this, but I think it's been said somewhere else. You should have a job ability, kind of like how I said Corsair should be able to put one roll on person with a
yeah,
Mhm.
job ability. You should be able to summon your avatar, you pop a JA, and it puts the avatar away, and it gives everyone in a radius a favor. Maybe not max potency, but that job ability persists, and then you can summon a second avatar, and that
yeah.
builds up the ramping
Oh, it
favor that we have
puts up
normally.
its favor. Yeah.
That way you have 2.
Or like if you could transfer the favor like an entrust at the potency that it's
Yeah,
currently
kind
at.
of the
So like
same
you'd
thing.
yeah, you stack up the favor, transfer it over, and then you switch avatars and you build the
I like
second
that
one.
idea even better than what I
Yeah.
said because I said consume the avatar and AoE, everyone gets the
Yeah.
thing. What if you send the avatar at a player and it desummons itself on the player and that player
Yeah.
has, an entrust now.
Yeah. And to your point too, I think that, how it becomes a kind of hybrid between Bard and Corsair in some ways, that maybe there's also a like pianissimo favor as well, where you
The
can
way I
give,
look at it, and
yeah,
I think Savage Blade ruins this, but Corsair is the buffer that does magic damage. Bard is the buffer that does physical damage, and I want Summoner to be like the buffer that does healing or like debuffing. And it's a pet job, so you can throw the pet at stuff, and there's that aspect of safety as well. I've just never been on board with like I need to use uh apogee and double
yeah.
Garuda slam damage, and
Mhm.
then that's all the job is.
Hmm. Yeah, you just pop you've got your 2 hour window, you do flaming crush, and then
50
if the
times
mob's not dead, you
you lose.
restart. Yeah.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So because I am on a time crunch,
Hmm.
we
Hmm. We
will
can,
we will move on to some other jobs now, and I think we've already covered most of them. So now we're beyond summoner. We have
Wait, one more
let's
thing on
oh
Summoner.
sure sure.
One more thing.
Hmm.
Why do we even have these stupid elementals?
That's a
Like,
great question.
mm.
On to puppet master. Uh,
And that leads me into my next job,
yeah.
puppet master. Why do we even have puppet
Why do we?
master?
Yeah, I don't know. What are the elementals used for? MP?
just for
Yeah,
siphoning MP,
Yeah.
yeah.
really.
And I
And
think
I
they
think you
exist.
summon the light one and leave it out so it
Yeah.
occasionally decides to raise people.
Yeah,
Mm.
they exist, I think, for us a stage of the game when the avatars weren't accessible, where like you would be able to have a summon aside from Carbuncle for like the first 10 levels, or whatever it was. You know what I mean? Like I
Hmm.
think that they're they've lost their reason.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just had to add that because
No,
I'm
you're
like,
good.
whenever we talk about a job, I'm on the web page like,
Yeah.
what is stupid about this job? And
All
I'm like,
right.
I scroll down, I'm like, that's pretty freaking
That's
stupid.
a great segue. What is stupid about Puppet Master?
Yeah.
The
Uh,
fact that the tank pup is like universally the only pup you use.
so I will say, in defense of Puppet Master, I think it is
How dare you?
one of the strongest jobs for a brand new endgame player because it has
Mm.
the ability to solo a lot of stuff that most other jobs don't.
Yeah. So Puppet Master is I love Puppet Master. I
Hmm.
used to like I played Puppet Master when Wings came out.
Hmm.
I had, one of my proudest moments was playing Pup. Um, I had capped out my ranged automaton.
Hmm.
I got to a party, like Calibri party at like, not like level 75. It was EXP grinding.
Right.
And I deployed my automaton and the paladin kept saying, "Wait, what the fuck? Why is the automaton out damaging the dragoon?" Um, and that was like one
Hell
of my
yeah.
proudest moments.
Yeah. That's
Um,
great.
I
and
want that to
uh
exist today.
yeah,
Why
Yeah.
doesn't
yeah,
it?
and so,
Hmm.
again, I think that, like, Puppet Master is a cool conceptual job where you have this automaton that you have difficulty controlling, you can suggest to it what you want it to do,
Hmm.
but you can't fully control what it's gonna do and when.
Right.
Given that limitation and complexity, it doesn't do enough, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't do enough in that role, even when you combine it with the 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 master, the
Hmm.
puppet master. Like, without, the idea that you can skill chain and all this other stuff and treat it as a second companion or whatever, both combined are still doing half the damage of a damage dealer. So it's like, I don't
Yeah.
know, it's in a weird spot where it's uncontrollable or
Right.
difficult to control and also doesn't reward you for taking that risk.
I do
S-
agree. I think you should be able to manipulate it the way you want rather than let it kind of like run itself and you make suggestions.
mhm.
The biggest issue with that is doing commands to it overheats the fucking thing.
Yeah.
Why? And then
Yeah.
Ken Conkin makes it so that essentially that never happens. Like that should just be a thing and just give Ken Conkin something else.
Mm. Yeah.
Overheating is a stupid concept in the modern game. Like
Yeah.
let us just tell it what to do
Mhm.
constantly at all times. Just be pressing buttons. Make it a busy job, but like
What I
make
mean,
the
imagine if
transformation.
your rune fencer overloaded its rune
It's
enhancements at
runes,
some point.
right?
Yeah, it's like,
And you
yeah.
can reapply those constantly.
Mhm. Yeah, so, and like, I think that, like, there are some fundamental changes. I think that, like, just the changes to puppet or pets in general, like,
Mhm.
where they need to have, like, if both the master and the pet scaled off the same stats and you didn't have to itemize for pet defense and then switch into, not be able to hit anything because you don't have any accuracy because you're in an Anwig Salad and whatever else. Like, I think if they scaled off the same stats, that would help. But then I think it also needs fundamental changes to, like, be a little bit more useful.
Do you think Pup should be able to be a viable alternative to Rune or Paladin?
I think, I mean, in certain content, maybe, like, could it, like, are you going to go into a sortie 8 boss or 9 boss and bring a puppet as the tank, or
Hear me
like
out.
a,
Hmm?
I think I think the puppet should be the strongest tank of all three, but should
hmm.
have the least enmity of all three.
Well, that's kind of where it is.
Right. I think that is kind
Puppet
of where it is.
Puppet is
I think they can lean
terrible at
harder into that.
generating enmity. Like, they cannot really hold anything off of anybody, especially in this day and age.
Mhm.
They can reach like 97.5% damage reduction or something like that. Uh
Yeah.
it's stupid. They don't take any damage, but they can't hold anything unless it's like popping Dynamis Divergent statues and the enmity isn't shared with the alliance until you take an action.
I think that they could lean harder into that.
Yeah.
And I do think the tank puppet can still do great damage with that like claw move, I forget what it's called. Like
Yeah, string shredder or
give it like
something.
an atonement TP move, and that's
Yeah.
like its only thing.
Mm.
Whereas the puppet master can't really generate enmity for it.
Alternatively, what if the opposite were true?
Yeah, I was gonna say, what
What
if they
if
could
like
hold enmity better, but it exploded the second
yeah.
anything touched it?
Then I think it's pointless.
No, I
And
mean
then
like
it's ninja. Then it's a ninja.
what if it didn't have too much utility or anything like that? You know, like
Mhm,
where it didn't it sacrificed a lot of the utility and like doing weapon skills and all that other stuff. And you could literally like target lock it and it like sets its reticles on something and it will not let go. You know what I mean? Like the enemy will never stop targeting. So then it becomes your R body tank or something
We
like that
gave
where you
Puppet Master a knockback, and it knocks
yeah.
back enemies into a corner, and they can't move.
So
No.
here's a question for you guys. Do you think Pup is the problem with Pup is that it's a red mage with no area that it shines in, meaning that it does a little bit of everything. It just doesn't
Mhm.
do any one thing super good. Is that its problem?
That's kind of
Yes,
accurate,
because
yeah.
it does do everything because it has a red mage automaton. It has a white
Hmm.
mage, it has a black mage, it has a ranger, it has a tank, it has a physical damage dealer. It
Right.
literally has access to everything,
Yeah.
but it does all of it relatively poorly. I used to I made it my personal goal for a little bit to like do magic burst objectives
Hmm.
and stuff in Omen. And like it can hit for crazy hard. This was like way back before Empyrean Reforged and all the other stuff too. It can hit crazy big magic bursts, but like I would spend the entire timer trying to get it to cast when I wanted to. You
Hmm.
know what I mean? So like I don't know. I think that it does do too much, and maybe the solution is to specialize it a little bit more. I don't know.
Yeah. I I think leaning more into a specific job identity, which I don't know. Up has a job identity, but it doesn't have a job identity that fits into like a specific role as far
Yeah.
as like the traditional roles go. So,
It's almost like I keep bringing up other games,
mhm.
which might be scary to people, but like
It
in
is. I
Final
don't like
Fantasy
it.
4 in Final Fantasy 14, they have these like limited jobs, like
Mhm,
Blue Mage is a limited job that doesn't participate in the game
mhm,
that at the same level as people. Like you can't go up to level cap, you can't do current dungeons and raids and stuff. But it's like a novelty thing. And that's kind of what Puppet Master feels like in 11, where it's
mhm.
like it's really fun to do older content solo.
Right.
uh that's what Puppet Master's role is. And I don't know. I think there's a
That's a pretty
solution
accurate
perhaps.
assessment.
Yeah.
That's actually how I feel about Beastmaster a lot of the time. Is when I do
Yeah.
Beastmaster is my go-to old content job.
Dude, when you
And
do Vanabout, you can bring that fucking max level pet in there and you one
yeah.
shot the level 60 cap stuff. That's broken as shit.
Mhm. I think this is a perfect time to talk about Beastmaster.
Mm.
And the fact that it makes me sad every time I think about playing it.
Yeah.
Because
Me too.
Beast is one of my favorite jobs. I don't know if you guys knew this, but I think it's
I
a
love
really cool job.
Beastmaster.
Beast should
Um,
get a inventory similar to Pup for its jugs, so you don't have
Hmm.
to carry them all around.
yeah.
Beast should get more variety in its pets that you can summon via jugs. Beast jug pets do not have enough TP moves, so you end up having a list of 3 or 4 pets that always get used and the others don't.
Hmm.
Um, Beast relies too heavily on specific debuffs that are too potent because it doesn't have enough debuffs or buffs for the party. And I think finally, Beast's pets buffs, similar to how the rabbit can AoE cure, should there should be options to affect the party, not just the master. Like the Hog's Zealot Snort should be AoE, so it's like a Mighty Guard alternative.
Yeah. So similarly to what I said, where Summoner should be like an alternative to Bard, I think Beastmaster should be an alternative to Geomancer.
Oh, okay.
And I'm not going to
Like
elaborate. I want you guys to
you
just
I'm not
summon
gonna
yeah, yeah,
elaborate.
you summon
no,
your pet bubble that
yeah.
just does like a crazy buff.
No, I don't think it should be.
Um,
Yeah, a pet. I think the pet should have a pet that's a bubble, and,
I think I think
and it
Beast
do
should
the
be an
exact
alternative
same
to
thing.
Warrior, and I'm not gonna elaborate.
That doesn't make sense. So anyway, um, I think Beastmaster's like expertise or specialty area right now isn't debuffs, and that primarily goes
Yeah.
with like the slug, because obviously that's like the one thing that it
Yeah.
gets used for, or
Mhm,
absorbing
mhm. That's
TP.
all the only pet I ever use, and I
I
fucking love
think
playing.
I think they should lean into that and give Beastmaster more debuffs and buffs that it can, like, just like you were saying, Dex, the Zealous Snort should be AoE. It's the equivalent of a Geomancer with slightly different buffs and more melee centric.
Mm.
Sheep can give rage and stuff like that. Like
Yeah,
there's a lot of buffs that just don't get used
right.
because they're not AoE or they don't like they're not
Hmm.
potent enough. There's so many like options for the Beastmaster jugs, and they've done countless slimes, crabs.
Yeah.
Like there's not enough pet types,
Hmm.
and because of that, we don't get enough of their moves. Um, Adept Beasts will tell you like the Tulfair is quite good for its magic defense down or defense down.
Hmm.
Um, I think there should be more variety that does things like that.
Right.
You can charm anything out in the field. Why is there just like 15 families that you can summon?
Yeah.
And on charm and gauge and all that shit should get like larger reworks.
Yeah, I think Beastmaster is one of those jobs that's like right on the edge of being really, really cool. It just gets limited in so many aspects, primarily the pets that it has access to, and the
Yeah.
ability that the pet buffs that it has aren't applied to the rest of the party.
Yeah, I think that like either you have to go the summoner route with Beastmaster, which
Hmm.
is like give it really powerful enhancing, stuff and debuffs and things that you can manipulate a little bit more easily and has a much wider breadth, or you have to go the dragoon route with Beastmaster, where like there's you focus on the Beastmaster itself doing damage,
Hmm.
and the pet acts as an augment to the beast damage exclusively. Like it gives you the same buff where you get the haste that beast desperately
Right.
needs, and everything else, and maybe does some minor damage like weaver breaths and stuff like that, and can do like a little mini haste or something like that. But I don't know. I think that it has to go one direction or the other. The idea of Beast being this like solo job that used to, just go out into the wilds and solo EXP for forever.
Hmm.
Um, and you were coordinating your skill chains with your pet and all this other stuff is
Right.
is no longer valid. And if you want to make it work into a party component, it has to either become a damage dealer or it has to become a buffer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I
I
think
agree with that.
I think buffers are just what the game needs more of than
Hmm.
damage dealers personally. Um, I think I think there are mostly two, sometimes three jobs that are really locked into any party composition, and being able to switch those couple out would be really nice in my opinion.
Indeed.
Yeah. So
And
do you
I
guys
love Beastmaster. I my
Mhm.
Beastmaster is way too geared for how little I play it.
Right,
Like,
right.
uh, but I just wish it was a little bit different.
Yeah. Yeah, Shiraj was giving me shit in chat about complaining about Beastmaster. Like I haven't like gone out of my way to gear it to the teeth outside of making a prime for it. But
I mean, I've made the prime, but
yeah, no, I know you have. I know you
yeah,
have. And it's on my list. I just have other
yeah.
priorities right now. Um so do you guys want to talk about Ninja? We kind of covered that in the last episode. Do you want to skip it?
I think we should let's really quickly go through it because I think that a
Yeah.
lot of people, if they're listening to this episode and whatever, that they want to
Well, I
hear
would
the
like to direct
thoughts.
them to watch the previous episode.
Yeah,
Yeah,
watch the
you
previous
could get the
episode.
download.
Like and subscribe on Twitch, YouTube, on Hegmo's
Oh well,
channel,
mhm.
on Dex's
Yeah,
channel. Not on Shiraj's channel since he's not here today, but everybody else is
yeah,
fine.
yeah.
And
It's
again,
twitch.tv/hegmo.
yeah, and again, if
Uh,
you want to donate to letting us hire a producer, I will give
mhm,
you my Venmo. But
yeah.
don't tell the other guys who
Uh,
donated is my thing. Just tell me.
That's
right.
fair.
Mhm.
Just keep it between us because we don't, it's an awkward thing.
Yeah, yeah. We don't want this getting out, you know.
Mhm.
What do you think
Um,
about ninja?
Ninja Ninja needs to be I think my vision for Ninja is that it becomes Red Mage. Like literally you're building your party and you pick between the merits of Ninja or the merits of Red Mage. They
Hmm.
both can perform the same potency level of debuffs. They both have access to unique enhancing for the party, and you're picking which route you want to go for the particular fight.
Hmm. I like that. So here's my question, and this is completely unrelated. But if you guys are on board with this ninja red mage new era, why are you fighting me so much on the summoner bard thing? What's up with that?
I mean, I
I
I
think
like
it's
the
too
summoner
powerful.
bard thing.
I'm kind of offended, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
I
think
think
Bard
that
is
you
too
have
powerful, and I don't want a second Bard. That's
yeah.
the only issue.
Well, I think that like you with the summoner bard thing, like
Mhm.
you have to find a way for it to be like to discourage the doubling up. You know,
Mhm.
like I
Mhm.
think that like maybe
Just don't
there's
let
you
honor
you
march
loop
and honor
in
haste stack.
yeah.
That's fine.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I think that like you have to put like there's two categories of buffers, and I don't know how you identify this, you know, where it's
Hmm.
like you have your corsair route and your bard route, and like those buffs never stack with each other.
Okay.
If you have like if a summoner is a bard equivalent, they can't double up. I don't know, that becomes really complicated, but I do like going like ninja. I think like ninja as the red mage,
Hmm.
if they could do defense down of the same potency, they're you actually give them scaling on their paralyzed blind slow, so they're the same potency as red mage.
Right.
um Maybe expand their enhancing, so because you already have some cool unique enhancing like subtle
Hmm.
blow, and that kind of stuff, but in expand their enhancing options
Yeah.
to make them a little bit more interesting. Maybe rework Yagyu Darkblade, even though that would probably make a lot of people angry, and just make Utsusemi AoE a staple to to Ninja. I don't know. um I think
Hmm.
that that would be the most interesting thing, to make them like a hybrid damage dealer red mage. Um, I think that'd be cool.
Yeah, I agree.
I like the idea of Shuriken adding
Mm,
debuffs.
Yeah, make shurikens the new bolt debuffs. Fuck it.
yeah, that'd be
I'm
cool.
happy with
Just
that. Like,
just delete thief and make
Yeah,
shurikens the new
go on the
bolt.
theme of delete thief and
I just feel like if the Shuriken were doing something
Right.
while they're just generating fuck tons of TP for the
Mhm.
ninja, like
mhm,
make them, utility instead of just like free TP.
Right.
Make the job more unique. Um, they need Enin and Yonin to not decay and be stronger. I think
mhm,
I said the other time that whichever stance you pick,
Mhm.
one of them makes it so that all your enhancing sans Utsusemi is AoE.
Mhm.
Shiraj talked about changing Migawari because it's not intuitive. Like all the Migawari enhancing gear lowers the threshold by which it procs,
Okay.
and that's not intuitive because currently I think it procs at 80%, and then with the Imperium body or whatever it is, you can bring it down to like 50%. But
Right.
why would you want that? Like if you take a 1000 damage AoE, you don't want your Migawari to get consumed. You're gonna get cured. But if you take 2500 damage, you're gonna die, and you want your Migawari then. So you don't want it to get wasted on something weak.
Yeah.
So he suggested
Is
overhaul.
thief our last job? Is that the only job we haven't
I
talked
think
about
yeah,
yet?
so.
I think so.
All right. What do you guys? How do we? Should we just delete it?
Uh, yeah.
Well, I was gonna say,
Okay.
I think I think you know how every job got wide scan, but weaker tiers.
Mm.
I think every job should get TH4, and then
Oh.
you can delete thief.
I okay. So in all seriousness, I do think problem with thief is similar to the problem with black mage, right? Where black mage required like this skill chain setup, and you're building the entire party about doing a skill chain that's culminating in a freeze burst that you started the macro on 45 seconds ago. um it's the same thing with Thief, where like it was designed for this idea of enmity control in a much slower fight, where like you're setting up positionals in the party to sneak attack, trick attack onto the dragoon who's going to jump the hate off. So I think that like that level of positional and party coordination doesn't make sense in the current meta. So you have this whole kit that doesn't do anything. And that's the core problem with Thief. Aside from I don't think a lot of the dagger weapon skills really work too well without those modifiers and stuff. Um, I think Myth like ended the podcast already, and they're gone. they left. No.
I it's still rolling. It's still rolling, but I
Yeah.
really did consider just ending it on
Yeah.
the delete thing. Yeah, so I don't know how to fix Thief. I think what
Yeah.
you guys have said is great. Like I said, I'm on a time crunch, so good job,
Yeah.
guys.
Mhm.
Last closing arguments against deleting Thief is this is your last chance.
My last thing to say about Thief, and I'll keep this short. I know that I yapped too long. In games like World of Warcraft, uh,
All right, that's
hunters
the
have an
show.
ability called
Thanks, everybody.
misdirection, where their enmity control tools are persistent. So all enmity generated by the thief, for example, for 30 seconds, 60 seconds, would be like siphoned off one person and funneled to the tank. And I think
Perfect.
something like that would solve a lot of enmity issues, um, and make Thief super viable for some content.
Thief just isn't doing the role of enmity juggler, and I
Yeah.
think the steel mug and the third one that steals TP. I think those
Despoil.
were good. Despoil, yeah. I think those three were step in the right direction when they upgraded them, but they don't do enough. Things like Aura Steel and the SP Steel should just be like there at
Yeah.
all times. Um,
You think we
and
should be able to steal 2 hours all the time
why the fuck not?
with the hell yeah.
Job stuck. Why
No
the
more no more invincible and perfect
What if
dodge.
there's a
Fuck yeah.
stance that stole two
Well, if you're
Yeah,
on a
hours?
true.
cooldown, like make it a
Yeah,
10-minute cooldown or 5-minute cooldown.
Yeah.
Yeah,
sure.
make it a stance.
Yeah, make it a
Mhm.
stance. Honor
I just
honor
think
Honestly, I
skill.
think the biggest thing to make Thief viable
Mhm.
is imagine all the things that are enmity capped. You bring in a thief to our body. They're using crossbow bolts like everybody wants to, but they're also using collaborator. It's like maybe conspirator you cast on an ally, and then you siphon their enmity, and then the collaborator gets sent to the tank, and so you're
I
just
love that.
funneling enmity from one person to the other.
Unironically, I do think trick attack and sneak attack should be not necessarily a stance, but an ability on a cooldown that lasts like
Mm,
let's say
Yeah,
a 2 minute duration with a
yeah,
1 minute cooldown where it's not up. I think that would be, but you can only use one at a time, etc.
Thief's
I think in
problems are
my example,
threefold.
collaborator and conspirator would need to be flipped, but
Mhm.
yeah, yeah,
That does make sense. I think
yeah.
Thief's problems are threefold. There's three identities. There's the I do fat damage with sneak attack, trick attack because of modifiers.
Which
There's the
ended when you were level 30 20 years ago. Okay.
um, it still does good damage. Like now,
Yeah.
if
Yeah,
you bring a thief in something, you stack up weapon skills with
yeah.
the
It's
damage.
like
Mm,
climactic flourish minus 50.
It is climactic flourish, but you can do it less often,
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
which is sad. So Dancer's better at sneak attacking than Thief. Thief is the enmity controller, except to your point, it doesn't do it well. Its abilities are counterintuitive. They only take percentages off of you. They don't you can't like super jump. So
yeah,
nobody cares about Thief Remedy because everyone can sub fucking super jump now.
yeah,
So what's the point of the job there? And then the third part is, well, treasure hunter. So who cares about that anymore? Like treasure hunter's barely used for anything. Just
Yeah.
give it to everybody. If you want to get super crazy, like let Thief do it, but that shouldn't be its job's identity.
Yeah, give me
mm.
TH80 and I'll consider it. But
All right, Myth. Bye.
bye. Good job, guys. Great episode. I'm proud of you.